session, yeah, it's not. You can always come back next time for the regular meeting, Sandra, if you want to.
Sandra, the most we can do is recommend, so yeah.
Exactly. So, all right, you've got two articles.
Part of one and then the whole of 10, so, yeah.
So let's start, so you're gonna start with 11. We do this is usually just do the page turn. We have comments from online, which are a lot of,
Do you need something?
whoever does this does a very good job. It's a lot more grammar and
Yeah,
that
the
kind
tree
of stuff.
canopy.
But there are some questions. We found some really good things. So,
This is
Yeah.
the one with the notes on
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
all right. So nothing on page one. Anybody have anything on page one? I think that all gets straightened out when they clean up the rest. Page two.
Question.
Uh-huh.
In D, under B, D, says the tree canopy in the fall of 2022. Did we do a tree canopy?
Canopy study?
Yeah,
Yes, we did.
okay. Where were we?
Oh, the exact number? Do you remember, Emily?
The percentage, drum roll, please.
There was no change.
There's no change?
Wasn't
So-
it? It was.
It was
statis-
57 point
Statistically, no
something.
change.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was under the threshold, is what you're saying?
Under the threshold.
Yeah, don't we have 57?
57.
Or are you,
So-
so you,
Still at 57.
so you rounded up to it?
No, I
Well,
think
it was 57 point.
Okay, good.
Something,
As long as it's point plus,
Yeah.
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 It was I presented it to council in October.
I think October.
Yeah, that sounds
about right.
Okay.
October-ish, so, and I have the presentation.
If you could, I'd love to see it.
Yeah,
So.
Actually, you don't need.
write
to
that
go.
down so I remember.
I can look it up online. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is online, but then I also just, I did like a little PowerPoint presentation, so I can just email you the PowerPoint, which it was like 5 slides,
I'll take it.
Very cool.
Yeah, do that, please.
very easy. I kept it short and sweet.
Judy?
So should we revise D, Brad, to say the city measured the tree canopy
Yes.
in the fall
that's
of
what-
2022?
Okay.
And
Um,
the tree canopy exceeded 57% and will measure the tree canopy.
Well, I don't know if that's a necessary change, since we had that we would do it in the fall, and then we would do it for a time period not to exceed 5 years after that. So we left it that way so it could just kind of stay that way and not have to be changed. So that was kind of the
Yeah.
reason why we did that. So I don't think it's necessary to change
Yeah.
it,
I
but
think that's why we worded it that way, so.
Okay. Good, did you have something else? Hey, it's me. And then online,
Yes, okay, so.
we've got 2 comprehensive plan.
Yeah, so that has to do with the,
It's B in C paragraph, where it says provide a framework for accomplishing, we're still on 1, right?
right. mhm.
Yeah, provide a framework for accomplishing the goals and objectives in the comprehensive plan, so capitalizing the comprehensive plan.
Okay. All right. And then there's another one, should this be cities?
Yeah,
And that's 2D in the last sentence.
yeah,
Um,
capital. And again, Caleb will go through and have the same, whatever that
Okay.
word is we said, convention.
Convention.
For all the.
yes.
Anybody else for page 2? Page 3? Anybody have anything? Nope. Okay, online, we have a suggestive structure. Should this be? Sorry.
Number
Okay.
3.
Question on 3. Have we seen any waivers?
yes, we have had some waivers. We have not had a chance to get it on your calendar yet.
We're so
But I've been
busy.
trying to work with Robin to get that on the calendar. But we've had a couple of waivers just for the canopy coverage requirement on some of our higher density areas. Like the most recent one would be Echo subdivision
On Crabapple.
right behind us, if you're familiar with it. So the area was already pretty cleared, if you're familiar with it, because it was a dog training facility and boarding or just dog training.
Just dog training, yeah.
So it had a pretty cleared area to begin with. So, and then the trees they were wanting to, they had a lot of invasive trees out there and what some people might consider junk trees, like the pear trees, and things like that. So they did ask for a waiver, not for the canopy coverage requirement, but for the keeping a third of existing canopy trees to remain. So, because they pretty much ended up clear cutting the entire site and able to roads they needed in for their subdivision. But because a lot of the stuff they were taking down were invasive stuff and stuff that people didn't really care for as much, we did waive the requirement to maintain a third. Well, the requirement is to maintain a third of your canopy coverage must come from existing trees. Right? They didn't keep a third of the trees on the site of their existing canopy, but they're going to be planting more than what was required. I think they were required 30%. Sorry, this is all going from memory. And they were going to be exceeding the 30% minimum canopy coverage. So because they were going to plant back more than what was required, we granted them the waiver.
Okay.
How do we get a regular rhythm going to make sure we have a checkpoint once a quarter to get these presented? Because any waivers have to be presented, it says.
Well, Robin, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, so, I mean, we can just start looking, I mean, it's not every quarter that it's happened, but yeah, definitely we need to bring back what we've done, so.
We do some kind of
Yeah, maybe
Schedule.
the first meeting of every quarter, we find out what happened the quarter
second
before.
meeting, whatever meetings tend, I don't know if there's a rhythm on that, but just say second meet, if the first is usually busy, the second, but just always make it once a quarter, we'll go and check and see if there are any.
Right, yeah,
Or just making it part of the standard agenda and
Right.
say for every third meeting and say nothing to report.
Because we have that one and stack flats.
Robin, I don't remember any waivers ever being presented. Have they been?
no, not yet,
Never.
but these are more recent.
Oh, that was a warrant.
That wasn't
It's
a
a
tree.
warrant, yeah.
That was a warrant. That's right. That was a warrant.
Were there waivers that have been made that have not been presented outside from the ones that were just discussed? Because the tree ordinance is a few years old at this point.
Right.
Just Echo and the medical office.
Oh, okay. The medical office across from the library, or the medical or the dental office over on Windward.
Medical office for sure on Mayfield.
Okay,
I don't think the dentist.
okay, that was okay.
Right, that was okay.
Okay.
Is it too late to get it on this? It sounds like we have some catching up to do. Is it? I'm sorry. It sounds like we have some catching up to do. Is it too late to get it on the agenda for the end of this month since we don't
Yeah,
have
we
it?
can, I mean, we can,
I think you said it was light.
if the arborist is available, we can do it the next PC meeting, the August meeting.
Let's just catch up whatever we haven't done.
Yeah, I think there's only two, right?
I think those are two.
Yep.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
good catch, Fred.
Another one under tree conservation manual number 1 states that a copy of this manual will be available online and in the office. Will be available, is it? Or
Yes,
it is,
it's on the website, yes.
or should we say?
Is available on the website?
Is available instead of will be.
Yeah, I mean, which
That seems
paragraph is
reasonable.
that?
Sure.
Oh, a copy. Okay. Copy of this manual is available
Okay.
online, yeah. Good one.
Anybody else on 3 before we go to the online comments? Okay, the online comments are, should this be structural root plate? I'm assuming it's F1 last 3. Okay, okay, both of them are there. Okay. So we're all good with those?
Oh, yeah. I was
Okay.
with that.
Yep, now page 4.
Wait, oh, what about
I'm with you.
the online page?
They said that.
They were good with that? Okay. Okay.
On page 4, we use the acronym DBH, and is that defined? It hasn't been defined thus far in this particular article. Is it defined elsewhere in the general definitions, or
All the
should we just,
definitions are going to be at the end of the UDC, right?
Yeah,
is it,
but I think usually we just spell it out the first
First
time
time.
so people
So-
know it.
so the first time is G1A is first DBH.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, what does DBH stand for?
Diameter breast height.
Okay.
And this strictly a question. It seems to me somewhere earlier, way earlier, that pine trees weren't considered specimen tree.
They are if they're 27 inches or greater. We bumped up the size criteria for them. 7.
Because in the long time ago now, whenever a developer would come in, they just say, you know, that's trash tree, and we seem to always accept that and let them take them down before we had the tree canopy. That's why I asked the question. That they didn't have any really respect, I guess would be the best word for it.
Probably still true,
But, yeah, no,
a little bit,
At
but
least on my property. it's
Yeah.
true.
I love all trees. But all trees still give us some benefits and some, so pine trees, the whole reason why they have to be larger to be considered specimen is they do grow faster.
Hmm.
So it doesn't take them as long to get as big, but I don't see many plans coming in with specimen pine trees on them because most people take them down before they get too big.
That's right.
So we don't have a lot of them out there, but there are some. I mean, I will say there are some that come in, and at first when I see them on their plans, I think somebody mismeasured, and then I go out there and I'm like, oh, no, it really is a 28-inch pine tree. But, so there are some out there, but, yeah, but it's, actually, I think it was 27 inches in the original ordinance, and we just kept it the same, but what we did was we added tulip poplars and that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else see everything on page 4? Go to online. Does this mean a specimen tree must be documented by someone other than?
Sorry, on page 6, you mean?
Page 4,
Oh, well,
That is,
oh, page 4 of the
G1.
document, yeah.
that comment is G1.
okay. It says specimen tree is any healthy tree documented by a certified arborist and verified by the city arborist, which meets at least one of the following criteria.
Yeah, so that's fine. It means exactly what it says. That
Exactly what
it has
some-
to be identified by by a certified arborist and verified by the city arborist.
Okay. So what's the rest of that? What's the rest say? Does this mean that a specimen tree must be documented by someone other than whom?
What was their whole sentence? No?
Well, the whole sentence is a specimen tree is,
I think they're asking what the.
What's the question?
Question.
The whole question.
The
oh,
whole
It
question.
says, does this mean that a specimen tree must be documented by someone other than our city arborist?
right, that's what I just
Well, other by
read,
city
yeah.
arborist?
Does this mean the specimen tree must be documented by someone other than our city arborist on a site or landscape plan and then verified by the city arborist who reviews the final plan? Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, so it was just her question, yeah.
okay.
And then, I'm sorry, I had all the.
Then should this be
7.
heritage tree?
That's going to be I4.
4, director shall present the recommendation to the city council who shall review heritage tree nominations and shall have the
Who wants
authority.
to know whether it should be capitalized?
Well, I don't think any of these. were-
Yeah, it's just again, the convention of capitalization, so.
Okay. Um,
It may not be a heritage tree until it gets a heritage tree nomination is not yet a heritage tree. So that might be why it's lowercase.
Well, she's just asking, should this be heritage tree as in
I mean,
capitalized?
in I2, heritage tree is capped.
Oh,
So I
okay,
just think it needs to be consistent
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay,
in 1 as well, so.
okay, and then should this be heritage for consistency?
That's I5.
Some other capitalization or,
I think it's just capital.
Yeah, just cap.
okay. And then simplify the language. Could you just say meets the criteria below?
I1.
I1, the tree shall be designated as heritage if it meets the criteria set forth herein. Yeah, I
Sure.
think we're trying to remove legalese from this. I think that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Legally, it makes no difference.
I'd agree with that.
What's that?
Legally, it makes no difference.
Okay,
So
yeah. We
It's
can
up to
say,
you.
we'll make it easier.
Yeah. Okay. Page 5, anybody have anything on page 5? Going once, going twice. Okay, and she says, can spacing be fixed? Or the person online says, can the answer be yes? It's easier to read, there is a City of Milton tree species list in the tree conserv. Okay, I'm not sure.
That is referring to J1.
I'm sorry, which one is that?
J1.
She skips around, so.
She
Okay,
goes back
J1.
up.
Okay,
What's the full question?
Is it
Is it easier to read?
quote unquote, quote, there is a
Is it,
City
yeah.
of Milton tree species list in the tree conservation manual that includes ...
shall, okay. There's a-
Versus the other.
The hereby thing, yeah. That's okay, right? Yeah.
From
Yeah,
what I heard
okay.
you read, it sounded like the same thing. So
Yeah,
I
there,
mean,
yeah.
in less legalese, which
Okay. Nothing personal.
yeah, I know. I'm like, "Ugh." I guess if you want to be able to read it, fine. My job goes away.
Okay, and then the next one is to read not approved for tree conservation or planting because the. Where was that one on page 5?
J2.
Okay. Not approved for planting a specific location may be approved by planting director.
Not approved for is it easier to read, not approved for tree conservation or planting because they are invasive?
Versus to meet requirements.
We need to put a reason for that because they're invasive? Sure, why we do that.
That's not what the ordinance is really saying at that part. Saying you can't use these trees to meet any requirements of the ordinance. So we can't leave out to meet the requirements, because that's what that means,
Okay,
Okay,
requirements of the ordinance that are invasive. It's not because they are invasive, it's
right.
you can't use them. I mean, it is because they are invasive, but you can't use them to meet the requirements of the ordinance. I don't know how you would clean that up. We can't just remove the language requirements. I wouldn't want to.
right.
Right. Okay, so that'll stay.
All right, so moving on to page 6 then. Anybody have any on page 6?
On M3, because we're talking about agents and companies, and we use they instead of he, she.
Where's that again?
Bottom,
M3, there's a he, she. Can we replace that with they because it's referring to authorized agents as well as company?
third line up from the bottom of 3 under N. It just says he
Oh,
slash
yeah.
she shall be subject.
Is that okay? Just use they?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have anything on 6? All right, online we have spacing and spacing. Yep, yep.
13 is, whatever.
Okay.
It's the justification for columns. It's not going to
We're gonna-
change.
Yeah.
in the-
Oh,
yeah,
that's-
so whatever. I don't
That's all going to
understand
change
why.
later.
Exactly. But I'm not.
Same thing with 14.
Okay, anybody on 7? Anybody have anything here? Okay, online, should this be stop work order for consistency?
O1.
Oh, one, Stopped.
Sorry.
Oh, O2.
Top, first sentence of O2.
One,
Okay, the issuance of a written or verbal notice of violation is not required before or in conjunction with the stop work, oh, it's capitalization?
With a stop,
Okay. All right, I'm assuming these other ones are the same. The stop work order, is that just capitalization?
7.
And notice of violation
We don't have that, it's 7.
and critical root zone, those are all. And the spacing, is each tree cut down considered to be its own violation, so that if someone cuts down,
Okay, yeah, this,
yeah, fine,
she just did the ones that were done.
yeah,
I'm
you know
sorry.
what that's in?
That is P,
I'll just let y'all do it. Do you have?
Sorry,
Papa 2.
P2? Okay, each calendar day a violation exists shall be considered a separate offense.
All the comments in between,
Yeah, that's days.
comments,
Comments, but
that's the same.
It calls out a $1,000 per violation. Have you,
It can't be per tree. Each tree removed without a permit is.
We're on the page
Have you
7
collected
of the
any money?
actual ordinance.
have you collected any money?
Yeah, right.
But that's
Mhm.
page
Well, the
12.
court has.
I know, but they're going by. the
How much?
number,
And
but
then it goes.
I know,
They don't
yeah, I
have all this. They don't have all the comments. so they
Yeah, I
will
just had 2 people in court on Friday. They both paid 300
But then it skips. I see what you
300
each.
Okay.
instead of 1,000?
It says up to 1,000.
Well, it's up to 1,000.
Oh,
It's
I
up to the
see.
solicitor and the judge. They work out the deals.
Oh, okay, okay.
Well, good,
Okay, well, I'm glad we're getting
glad-
some fee income.
glad- I'm glad,
Yeah, they did pay a fine. $8.
I'm glad it's getting enforced.
Okay, I'm sorry. We totally missed everything because we've been, so we're on 7, right?
We're on 7, and the question was, is each tree that is cut down considered its own violation?
Ah.
So that if someone cuts down something, I think, Sandra, you were saying that it says for
Yeah,
each
I mean,
tree.
I don't know how the day thing, I think that's just common verbiage that we put on every ordinance that deals with citations. But like tree removal, you're not usually dealing with a occurrence. I usually catch them the one time, stop them. But it's more for like when people are doing erosion control violations and they may not, they have something that occurs every day, we can cite them every day for that. So this is just, I think we use the same verbiage in citation.
Mhm.
So I don't run into the day-to-day issue with trees as much as erosion control enforcement does with their issues.
Okay,
But then should P1 then say $1,000 per violation per day? Just to make sure, even if there were multiple days that, it's going to accrue up to $1,000 each time versus that showing as like a max almost.
Well, I think you
that's
have
what 2
the,
does.
yeah, they're 2 separate things, I think. You have a violation can occur per day, and then you have a violation can be fined up to $1,000. So like somebody could accrue a ticket one day for erosion control violation, and that can be fined up to $1,000. And then the next day, they can get another ticket for the same violation, and that can be fined up to $1,000. So I think they're kind of 2 separate things. So I think you'd want to keep them separate. And then, and I think you'll find that that's how it's written in other ordinances like this. So I think to keep consistent with the other ordinances too. I don't know, am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
so just a violation, is a violation one tree?
Mhm.
Okay, each tree could be a violation. So if I clear cut, I could have 10, 20, 30
Yeah,
different violations.
She gave out to somebody like, what, 35?
Yes, I mean,
46.
Okay, whatever.
Record is 46.
nice, great,
Something we never
Wonderful.
want to reach
40,
again.
46 to one person, yes.
keep it up, thank you.
For whoever's keeping track, let's make P1 say any person who violates any provision of the tree ordinance.
Provision.
Singular.
Yeah, singular.
Provision.
If they violate 2, that doesn't get them out, or they're not required to violate 2 before it becomes.
So we're still talking about the third comment from the bottom of the page, right?
Correct.
Tree that is cut down. So
Right.
the rest of that, can You see the whole comment?
No, we cannot.
Read it. Is each tree that is cut down considered its own violation, so that if someone cuts down 5 trees without a permit, they could incur $5,000 in fines? Question mark. If so, can that be explained here for clarity?
No.
Explained, are they wanting it?
Yeah, they want it
explained?
more clarified, like more,
Like, yeah, what is a violation?
It seems pretty clear, the way it's written, but
Well, I guess I can see where she's coming from, because that was the same question I had, is, it says here, fine up to $1,000 per violation. Where does it say what the violation is? Is it one tree?
well, the violation can be, I mean, there's different violations.
Sure.
There's also encroachment into a tree save. There's also, I mean, so there's different violations. It's not just about tree removal and tree permits. So there can be other violations as well.
I guess I'm just not sure, somewhere in here, it's buried that each tree is a violation.
Well,
Each tree is its
it's-
own violation.
Each violation is a violation. So that makes sense.
So like
Uh-huh.
that 46 one, you issued 46 different,
citation.
Well, it was, yeah, it was 46 citations. 45 of them were for tree removal without a permit, and 1 was for encroachment into a stream buffer.
but yeah, but they were facing 46 citations.
46 citations.
Yes.
I guess we just want to be clear that that's clearly spelled out in here, so we understand if I cut down 5 trees, I could have 5 violations, rather than just, that's all. If it's clear, if it's somewhere else that each tree is a violation, great, but otherwise, I think it is a little, it's not clear to me that it says may be fined up to $1,000 per violation. What's I mean,
I don't have a problem with adding something if it's not stated somewhere else. I see the question. I think I agree that that's what the ordinance says and that's how it's interpreted. But if somebody isn't sure, I'm fine with putting removal of an
I think what
removal of-
Sandra's point is that then you have to come up with every single situation, whether it's a whether it's a stream buffer, whether it's tree safe fence that wasn't put up right. I mean, then you start having to list all these different things that,
But perhaps that's done. If we look back on this cover page, right here where it says violations, enforcement, and penalties. So in that section, 11.4, oh, that's under stormwater though.
yeah,
Maybe we could just say, like a
it's only the
reference at the
first,
end that
it's
says
only here.
C.
And-
But see how each
Section,
section has a
whatever, for-
violations where they
Right,
sort of
and
talk
it's-
about the violations?
But, and I don't think even in the other sections do they get into every possible scenario of getting a violation.
When you write the citation, I mean, how do you note somehow like this tree, where the tree is placed, or how do you kind of denote like the 45 trees, You do that?
Well, so on the citation, it's not really noted. On the citation, what we do is record what section of the ordinance was violated. So I put the section where a tree removal permit is required. And I just put that section down. But then I build a case file every time I go to court. So when I go to court, I usually include an inspection report in my file that I give to the solicitor. And in my file, I will put in there photos I've taken, and all that in the inspection report. So it's all documented. It doesn't have to be documented on the citation, but it's up to me to prove the violation in court. So I document it on my own. Whenever you charge somebody with something, it's up to you to prove it in court. So you don't have to put it on the citation, you just have to be able to
So
prove
the only
it.
thing is what you're citing for, just like what she said, she goes to the ordinance, it says you can't take down a tree without, whatever, specimen tree without,
And each citation would
permit.
have its own citation number, for instance?
Mhm.
Right, so then they can see that there's technically 45 different numbers, so
I
there's
have to write
45
a separate citation for each.
45, yeah.
So yes,
wow.
Got it, okay.
and it's not computerized like the police are now, so she does it
no,
by
it's
hand.
not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun.
I just think it's just gonna start getting a snowball effect, because she can give a citation for anything, just like the code enforcement, he'll come to me and say, what am I gonna give a citation to? And I give him the book, chapter, and verse of what they're not abiding by, so.
And if there's multiple violations on it, they can write one for each one. Like if
Yeah.
they have a shed and a setback and they didn't get a building permit, you can write them a ticket for building a accessory structure without a permit. You can also get them for building an accessory structure in a setback. So there can be multiple violations on that case as well. And so it's all case by case kind of thing.
But you're comfortable with the way it is and you had no real concerns or issues with that? up to
I
date?
think it's fine, but if the attorney has a suggestion of a better way to word that,
In
Fine.
turn, we back to the, each individual tree is a,
Yeah, but then everybody will think, well, that's the only thing you can get a citation for.
Right, I
so,
mean, this may
yeah.
not be the place for it.
if you, I don't have a problem with including it. If you want something, you wanted me to come up with something?
But after hearing that explanation, just to me, when you hear about code enforcement and you cite the code reference, then you cite how many different violations could it be? It could be in the setback, and it's accessory structure in the front yard. This seems a little bit unfair because we're talking about trees, and the only things that could affect a tree is to have it removed, when in
Well, or
essence it's
the stream
not.
buffer,
So when
yeah,
it says any person who violates any provision of the tree ordinance,
Right, it kind of covers.
it almost kind of coincides then with the code enforcement.
I guess my question is,
I'll see.
if I cut down 12 trees, how do I know that could be 12 violations?
If you want something, I would just add something that's very similar to number 2, which is removal of each
I would say each violation.
improper.
Well,
Each violation can result in a separate citation or something. Each tree,
I think they want to know that removal of 2 trees
And
is 2
we're
violations.
saying we don't want to get into that.
then how do I know?
I'm not sure why you think it's a problem, because it doesn't mean you can't cite other violations separately as well. I mean, you can say removal of each tree constitutes a separate violation without jeopardizing the ability to do a stream buffer or canopy reduction or any of those things.
Because if I cut down 12 trees, where could you say, in here, it says that each tree is a violation? That's what I'm trying
well,
to get to.
well, it says that any violation of this ordinance can result in a citation is the way I interpret that. And then, so each tree removal is a violation of the ordinance.
Where does
Does
that
it
say
say
that in
that?
here? It's per tree and not per
But it
incident.
doesn't need to say per tree, in my opinion. But because-
I agree, that's the effect of what this says.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's how it's interpreted, and that's proper, that's how it applies. This is just asking for it to be written specifically a section, cutting down each tree constitutes separate violation.
Kind of in the spirit of we're trying to make this clearer to the standard public.
Which,
Well, I can tell you this, if they cut down a tree without a permit, they haven't read any of this, so they don't know.
Well, in the section where it talks about tree removal and that you're required to have a permit to remove any tree over 15 inches or whatever, does it say in that section, removal of a tree is subject to a violation? Do you know what I mean? Like in the tree removal where it tells you how many you can remove or what the size is? Maybe it can go there. Hang on.
Well, so that would be under F, a tree removal permit shall be required for any protected tree being removed. Page 3, F1.
I mean, that's the thing, it's like, it's exactly what the code's, I mean.
And then it says
it's what
tree
it
re-
says, just not.
It says
in the
any
words she
protected
wants.
tree without a tree removal permit shall be considered a violation of the tree ordinance. Yeah, so
it already
any
says that.
protected
Okay.
tree, so if there's more than
Then
one.
that's what
protected-
you, okay, then I'm good with
Yeah.
that then.
I don't have a problem with enforcing it
Right.
as she's indicated.
Okay.
Well,
It
because
says
that's how
right
I've
here
been
on here,
enforcing it.
yeah.
What about, should we keep the word person or should we say like any party? Because it could be an entity versus an individual.
Person may be defined to somewhere to include corporate entities. I don't know. If it's
Well,
not,
other-
then that's fair.
Other sections or other areas in this section say, or,
Any
I can't
individual.
think of the
person.
language.
Okay.
but
I have to bring
somewhere that says.
The
or
directions, yeah, I
other-
mean, those, the definitions are good, yeah.
It's pretty common for person to be defined to
It is
include.
defined as all of that.
That's
Okay,
right.
So,
that's
yeah.
fine, is all that?
Yeah, so as long as they make sure it's capitalized.
If that's the convention chose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Persons
We're gonna look it up to see
Person
if
to
I
it's,
make
think-
sure.
I didn't
Person
put
is
my
They looked it up
defined.
and person is defined, and it's covered.
Oh, okay. I'm
Just
sorry.
make
It
sure
should
it's
be
capped.
capitalized so
Draw, Ms. Birds.
My well-worn chapter 13.
Okay, you're,
Oh, my-
yeah, you're the smart one.
Dog-eared and everything. Dog-eared but not eaten yet. Just for clear, are we done with each tree is a violation? Can I move on to something else?
yes,
Okay.
moved on because of the
Still on
citations.
11.7, I want to make sure I see 3 stop work orders in 02, 03, and 03E. But then I also see a reference to a verbal order to stop in 4, so that's not a stop work order. But in 6, I see a reference to a verbal stop work order. Should that be capitalized? Or is a verbal stop work order different than a stop work order?
I thought we had well, you see, stop work order shall under 3.
We're just working on capitalization.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Not sure why a stop work order is capitalized. Is it defined somewhere?
It's defined.
Okay.
But we're going back to the convention. I think that he's gonna just do everything the same way. If it's defined, it doesn't, and even the Muni code strips all the capitalizations away. So,
Okay,
But I was just noting, she noted, the commenter noted 2, and I see 1, 2, 3 plus 1, that's a verbal stop order or work order. I didn't want to, if we're going to fix 2 of them, fix all.
but you're right. It's
3 or
like, well, a
4.
stop work order is defined with all these lists of things and one of them's written. So then it can't really be a stop work order. I guess it's a verbal,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, in one place, it's a verbal order to stop work. The
Oh,
other, it's a
okay.
verbal stop work order.
Well, that's an emergency when we don't have time to type something.
Yeah.
You just run out there and tell them
Yeah.
to stop.
Sometimes you're not always prepared out to a site.
So maybe 6 should be reworded, verbal order to stop work consistent with 4. Then
think
we
that
don't
makes
have to worry,
sense.
because it isn't a defined stop work order.
when you do that, do you wag your finger at them? When you tell them to stop, do you use your fingers?
Oh, yeah,
Do you
definitely.
wag your finger at them as part of the verbal
Way
stop?
to get through to them.
All right. Are we done with 7?
The only other thing with a verbal stop order, is there something in here that says who is authorized to give that verbal stop order?
Director.
Yeah, I think it all says the director,
But that,
which
it's
means
defined,
also
so-
their designee.
yeah.
Or
So just for clarity,
may require work.
Is-
violation?
will the capitalizations be stripped out?
Right, that's what I'm just saying.
So if we capitalize anything, the system, when they go, will
Right.
strip it.
But I think even with Caleb, when he does all his, I think we've agreed that defined terms do not need to be capitalized because they're just defined terms.
Right.
I know it's kind of counterintuitive of what people are used to, but that's the way it is.
So anything that says capitalization, we can basically say, never mind.
I mean, that's the whole thing with this critical root zone. If that's a defined term, then, I mean, I think, yeah. So, and that should be in the chapter 13 or article 13. So yes, so I'll just be stripped.
Why does it get stripped? Is it a program?
They're yeah, I mean, it's just the practice, because in Muni code, they just strip it. So once it gets codified, they strip
I've
the,
never asked them, but I will confirm that.
he's confirming.
It just gets stripped.
You send it in and it comes back different,
Yeah, it's
or
so.
it gets posted different. I mean, they'll honestly move things around. They'll renumber things. It's pretty silly.
I think Muni code kind of sees it as a grammar.
Okay.
Forming a service nobody asked them to do.
On to 8, marching forward to 8, page 8.
Okay.
Anybody have any on page 8?
Just the same they did about Is the table one really referring to the table on page 11, 12? And if so, why is that table so far away?
The only table in the ordinance, so yes, that's the table.
Can we move it up?
Well, that's the way it was placed in the original, so he didn't, Caleb. But
Probably because it's referred to it multiple times, right?
But this is the first reference, so,
Yeah, in the past, first, it comes first, and they refer back to that, or at least we have in the past.
'cause
We
then
can
it's
always
ref-
move it, that's
It's
fine.
referred to again on page 11, and then it follows right there. But
We can move it, that's
Okay,
fine.
yeah, let's put it there, and then if that's the
Yeah,
first
I
place
think
it's
it should
mentioned.
be- Well, yeah, to be consistent.
first time it's referred to.
And then we have a one, what's the third one down online? The between agent and to does not seem to be necessary.
3.
Oh, the comma. Application, yeah.
Correct comma.
For tree removal shall be made by the tree owner or their authorized agent. Or what's underneath it? Okay, okay.
Let me see what's. I mean, that's how it was done in the original.
That's how it,
So it is or not the comma?
Should not have a comma.
Oh,
What does the original have? Nothing?
has a comma, but it's to the administrator because we were doing,
Oh, okay.
still has a comma there.
I don't think it needs it, does it?
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on 8? 9?
Question on the D4, a tree removal permit is required for the removal of a dead, unhealthy, or invasive tree. Is it like, does it have to be so big, or, I got a lot of sticks out in my yard that are dead.
Well, it still has to be, it's for any protected tree.
Oh, it doesn't say that here, though. Okay. So really 4 is not any dead, unhealthy, or invasive tree. It's only dead, unhealthy, or invasive protected trees?
Who makes that determination?
Dead, unhealthy, or invasive? Well, the invasive thing comes from our tree species. There are trees identified on there. And then the dead part, I would think anybody can make that determination. Dead, unhealthy is usually something
But this
I
is saying
certified officer myself.
this is saying I have to have a permit to take it out.
Should be any protected tree? If we put protected in front of tree, would that cover it? Would that be a little more clear? Because this is saying any tree that if you remove it dead or otherwise, it's a permit.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could clarify that some way, but I mean, I
Because
think,
D1 talks about removing a protected tree,
right.
but now all of a sudden
It's
this is any tree.
Well, I think it's trying to say, even if it's dead, it still requires a permit if it's protected. That's
Well,
how,
when we
but
say
that,
removal of a protected, a protected tree, even if it's dead, unhealthy, or invasive.
Or do we just put protected as the second to last word? So it reads, a
Protected,
tree
yeah.
removal permit is required for the removal of a dead, unhealthy, or invasive protected tree.
That's
That'll work? All right? Let's keep it going.
Not in trouble for cutting my sticks, dead sticks down. Okay.
That's
good.
15 inches.
Okay, and then another comment online, oh, that's on 9. Okay, anything else on 8? So we're done on 8, 9. Talk about spelling out the numbers. I think we can rely on Caleb for the conventions on those.
Right, we have anything less than 10, we spell them out, so.
And then there's a table ambiguity here. Should table 1 be changed to table 1113D? If not, is there another table that is? So I have,
Yes, is that gonna be listed?
Yeah, that's the same.
Okay.
We were just
We'll fix
discussing.
that.
okay, and again, should the number 3 be spelled out? But again, that's Caleb on the number conventions. Anybody else have anything on 8, on 9? All right. Page 10, anybody have anything on 10? I think we're all good on 10. What 11? Anybody have anything on 11? All good there? Page 12, do we have anything here on page 12? There's a couple of comments.
In the table, where they have COP and UP, they have, I think there's an extra comma there.
Okay,
Good catch, comma.
Comments in C. Bottom of C.
and
Oh, that's
where's the
just
spacing?
the
Yeah,
justification.
yeah, just a bit.
Comment is in D.
So 32, should
passively
this be
protected.
specimen and heritage as in capitalized, but we won't do it.
Okay,
Passively protected.
Passively protected is at the bottom of D.
B.
I have a definition for passive tree protection. Definitions.
how would trees be passively protected and how do you know if they not been? We feel it's addressed. How would trees be passively protected and how do you know if they have not been?
Passive tree protection defined, the ongoing avoidance of activities harmful to a tree as further described in the tree ordinance within the tree protection zone.
Don't have a tree protection zone anymore. Definitions.
Okay.
But we do have stuff in the ordinance about can't have encroachment into the critical root zone or site without a permit of a protected tree. So that's falls under the passive.
Everybody agree with that? And the next comment from online is, should this be specimen and heritage?
Yeah, it's capitalizations.
Oh, okay. All right, anything else on 12? All right, 13. Anybody have anything on 13? Online, need the reference filled in here.
That's 2C at the bottom.
Oh, where it's highlighted?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming the highlighted things will be addressed. Even I couldn't miss those.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna go
he's gonna
fix all
fill
that.
that in.
Okay, and then general question we have,
Let me read the whole thing.
okay,
General question, we have a lot of trees planted in the right of way. Utility companies have to trim to prevent down power lines. Do these ordinances prevent that from
No.
happening moving forward? One, and then next question, does the city arborist have to review and approve all tree planting on road frontages?
Well, if you, it actually says in all new development frontages on private property, actually have them plant them on private property instead of right of way. So that's one way we try to avoid utilities. But of course, you can't always stop people stuff after development, under utilities or in the right of way sometimes. And yes, I do approve. The other question was about the arborist approves it, is that what you said?
You gotta ask if you get to, do these ordinances prevent this from happening, moving forward? No,
The trimming.
the trimming. And
Oh, the
does the
trimming?
arborist,
Well, the utilities have their own easements, so
right, they get to do what they want to, yeah.
I can't stop them from trimming.
Yeah.
There's actually a section of the ordinance that exempts them. If in their utility easement.
Okay. Anything else on 13?
A question, how does this get responded to? Whoever submitted this, Mary Cronk? Anybody from city respond to this comment?
Not yet, she just did it at 1 o'clock today, so.
Well, I mean,
No, I know.
in general,
We haven't yet, I mean, so, I mean, we can, you know,
I'm not asking for it.
no, I know, yeah.
Technically responding right now on video.
I know, that's true, we can,
Okay.
she can be entertained by our entertaining meeting.
Bottom of 13 needs a spacing fix also.
All right, then on 14, anybody have any on 14?
Same comment in the reference on B.
Gonna say
Okay,
tree
yeah, the
species.
highlighted area.
I'm sorry, what?
It's just gonna be the tree species, like a section to reference
Right, yeah,
on its
so
own.
we'll just say,
There
yeah,
is no section.
No, the tree species list is part of the tree manual, separate from the,
Which is online. We were trying to do links to online manuals, though.
well, I think we were,
that what this is
well,
supposed to be, a link?
yeah, but I think
Highlight
we,
is a link.
oh,
Caleb said, well,
I'm not in that.
I think
part.
we can do it on Municode, but we were talking about that you could do links with Municode, but Caleb said,
That's off-site, so.
yeah, it's off-site, it's not part of,
Different website, so I don't know how you would link it.
yeah.
Let's look at it because we're trying to make it easy so that people don't have to go searching. Because we've linked to other things that aren't necessarily in the Unicode. Like stuff that was on the city website or,
Hey, I think a link.
Well, we can ask Caleb again, but my impression was that
Okay.
once it gets, problem is, once it gets codified, I don't think it can get linked to something that's on our website.
oh, okay.
So at the end, then when everything's
Those poof again.
said and done, it can't go to that. We can just, yeah.
Maybe we could say where you can find it.
Yeah, we can say, located on city website, or we can talk to Caleb about it, what,
Because otherwise, the whole thing, and be selected, doesn't make sense.
these must have a copy of at least,
Typo.
Across one of
Maybe
them.
there's too many bees selected.
yeah.
That's a good catch.
It's important.
All around it.
It's important they should be selected. Okay, are we good on that? All right, then also trail, Roland, you reference to be added here, should it also say trees must have a caliper of at least the third one up, fourth one up from the page?
36 is,
That's,
is that,
one
oh,
we
it's
just-
that we just talked about.
Okay, that is, okay, I knew that. The next one is spacing. Spacing is, that'll be fixed automatically. Anybody else on 14?
Yeah, and maybe that's what you were referring to, but on D, there must be at least one every. Huh?
There must be at least one.
Oh, I think it's a typo, the A.
That's a
shouldn't be
typo.
there.
Delete the A.
In space.
Okay,
So there must be at least one very wide or wide canopy tree. Okay. Then in that case, do we want to hyphenate very wide? What's the
That's not how it's-
convention there? Assuming
Is there a definition?
Well, no, the challenge is you're trying to say it's a adjective, it's a descriptor on canopy tree. So it's not a very canopy, it's a very wide canopy tree. So,
And is
Check the
that- Is
grammar.
that defined?
no, it's not hyphenated.
Well, on our tree species list, it has them separated by those categories.
Oh, I see.
Very, well, yeah.
Where it says the canopy class, something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll say wide, very
Yeah.
wide, narrow, and very
Right.
narrow.
That's what I was thinking. It was already.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to say, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a convention there, but I can't remember it. It's,
Okay. 14, we're done. Moving on to 15. Anybody hear everything on 15? Online, we have, should this be Milton tree species list? Again, capitalization looks like, which is beyond us, and spacing.
Spacing subsection 3, yeah.
Okay. Nobody else has anything for 15? 16? Anybody have anything for 16? All right, 17.
just a convention on 16J. Do we usually hyphenate 10 foot or is it just 10 foot?
I like to hyphenate between numbers and foot.
As long as we're consistent, it doesn't matter.
As long as it's consistent.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has been.
All right. 17, anybody have anything on 17? Getting there. How about 18? Nothing online, nothing from anybody here. 19? Okay, 19. 20? All right, I think we're done with,
Oh, yeah.
we're done with Article 11, not 1. Thank you, thanks for joining us for all this fun. I'm glad we could share.
Yeah.
That sounds like a challenge for next time.
I think it's a reference to when we did the tree ordinance.
It could be, yeah.
That's what you're
That was.
talking about.
Not that easy.
I guess the only thing on page 11, there's a random highlight.
Yeah, we saw
got
that,
it.
yeah. So do you want to, can you come to the next planning commission to do the
Waiver.
waivers?
Waivers.
Well, I'm assuming you want me to put together a presentation. I
That's
get
what I'm
that.
saying. Today's the 9th, but I don't, let's see, when
It's
is,
24.
Okay, could you?
23rd.
the 23rd.
Okay.
If you can't, we can do the next one, but
Yeah, I mean, it's gone on this line, whatever you can make it.
yeah, you can let me know.
Okay.
I don't think one,
I was just thinking we didn't have much on that agenda other than
Right,
12 and 13, which could take a while, but
Right, which could be
maybe
a-
it would entertain us more than
thank you,
reviewing UDC. We need to be entertained that night.
Nice to like, break things up, different things.
Good.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you again.
Sandra.
Thanks, Sandra.
all right, jumping
We're
into,
dismissed. Yes. Unless you're just really dying to go through,
Love to have you stay.
I don't know much about streets.
But there is some reference to trees along streets, so you do know that.
Yeah, there's street trees.
Street trees, 1048.
There's street trees.
all right,
Thank you.
yep, we're good.
good, thanks.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, Article 10.
Yeah.
Okay, we start out really on page 2.
I have all our notes.
Yeah, I've got
earlier.
the original stuff, but yeah, this is.
Robin, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
On 1013A, adopted comprehensive, adopted plan conformance. In A, it says proposed developments must conform to the comprehensive plan in effect at the time of submission. Which provisions of the comprehensive plan do these submissions have to conform to? For instance, as was noted by our chair, there were 4 or 5 different instances where we said no flag lots. And are we adhering to that at this point in time, since it is in the comprehensive plan?
Proposed developments must conform.
I mean, when we do the use permit or rezonings, yeah, we have a section that we look at the comprehensive plan.
But in the comprehensive plan, the recommendation is no flag lots. If one was to come in
I
and
would,
say,
I
we
would,
have a flag lot, what would you do? Because pursuant to these words, it suggests to me that you have to send it back.
so respectfully, I think the quotes that were given, not all of those quotes say no flag lots. It said to
Eliminate.
look into it.
Most of them said eliminate, though.
Limit.
Eliminate. Most of them were.
So
I mean, but we were
I'm trying to figure out
instructed
what
to
this-
look at it.
I'm just trying to figure out what this really means to the public. I mean, it's clear to me that flag lots would be eliminated. Is that the word?
Those, at least on one of those, it was eliminate flag lots.
And
Wasn't,
that certainly was the intent of the comprehensive plan committee, to eliminate them. So I'm just curious about
So I know when we look at
phrasing.
preliminary plats, there are certain things that, like when it has to do with, it references, whether you use sidewalks or not have sidewalks are based upon, well, the reference in the ordinance with, I can't remember if it's subdivisions or in streets and sidewalks, that they say, well, we need to look at the comprehensive plan.
But this has the strong I had noted it too, Ron, because this has the strong language of must conform.
Yeah. Frankly, it surprises me that this is in here. I would think that we'd wait for ordinances to be passed or changed, but I like it this way, at least as far as flag lots are concerned.
I was kind of surprised, because my other question is, so then do we have to, if somebody wants to do something, does that mean you have to get city council to revise the comprehensive plan to conform with this? Or do they give a variance to 1013A?
No, I
will
mean, a
say,
comprehensive
I
plan-
agree with the comments that I'm hearing and looking at this going, this almost makes a comprehensive plan compliance requirement
Like an ordinance.
It does.
as written, that I don't think was the intent. I honestly don't know what the intent was, but it's in a section with streets and improvements. So my guess is that it might have tried to address only a transportation plan.
Right.
Even then, saying compliance with the comp plan is contrary to the way the comp plan is treated as a guide and a goal.
It's a guide and, but yeah, it's not
So
ordinance driven.
they must conform to the comp plan is, I think, a problem.
Was that, I assume that came verbatim from the way it is written
Right.
today.
Well, we can post developments adopted.
Well, it's hard because it's still up for discussion in the council. Isn't that correct?
The flag lots.
Yes.
Yeah, it got deferred. It wasn't
Got
even
deferred.
discussed. We didn't even do a presentation, so it was deferred to September 5th or 6th, whatever that Wednesday is, so.
On the basis of being flag lot conversation or because the agenda was too full?
Basically,
One of the council members made the motion in the beginning of the meeting stating there was some more work to be done, or there was not everybody was in agreement, and that's And there were two additional, the mayor was absent, and there were two additional members of the council who were not present, I think, because of the storm. So I don't know.
Well, I think to answer his question, as I understood it, was it wasn't whether they were gonna have flag lots or not. It was description of what a flag lot was.
I
mean,
don't,
that's-
we were, I don't know.
You mean what was-
Actually,
what
they
was in front of them?
deferred, I watched and they
Watched it.
deferred all zoning items.
No,
So
they
it wasn't
did, but
just
she
this.
did make a statement about each of them and kind of why. But I think it was more of needing further evaluation or discussion or whatever with the public. So so.
But it wasn't just flag lots. They also
No, it
deferred
wasn't. It
to
was
other
retaining walls and
zoning.
the use permit, yeah. Okay, well,
So noted?
but I mean, I'll definitely make a note about that, but I do think what Paul is saying is it's more in relation to development and streets and all that. So, which obviously,
But
Wait,
Well,
but-
I mean-
but rather- Streets rather than what? The flag lot example?
I'm sorry, say that
Are
again.
you saying that, are you trying to exclude the flag lot example from this? Is that what?
Not necessarily. I mean,
Because
obviously,
we have curb cuts.
right,
there's
right.
a-
So I'm
it's a-
just saying
it's
in
in
general,
here.
it would, I mean,
So, but I'm just getting back to the must. Must
Yeah, I mean,
conform.
I
That's the
I
issue
still have a
here.
problem with,
yeah.
do you know where it came from? I'm looking at the.
Well, I
streets
have
and
the
sidewalks.
original, so I have the original red line. So let me look from,
I just wonder where in the current ordinance, if we're just adopting
yeah. I think it's actually in,
subdivision?
yeah, let's see. Well, not the original, but when Public Works went through and did the fine tooth comb. So 10.1.2, here's
Yeah, right
that.
here. Thanks, sir.
And then,
Yeah, next page.
yeah. Yeah, it was in there where it says,
Because it originally said shall development, proposed subdivision developments shall conform, and it was changed to must conform.
yeah.
Either
and
way,
this is
it's the
subdivision.
same,
So it
same
came from
impact.
the original 48. If you go to Muni Code,
8,
yeah.
in which 48 what?
It would be in the beginning, whatever, general provisions
Mine
or
shows-
whatever,
Mine shows them all reserved.
or Article 48 or Chapter 48 of the city code.
Yeah,
Isn't that streets and sidewalks?
yes.
Okay.
But generally, stuff is reserved.
Yeah, see right here. It's showing
Okay,
reserved.
now go down some more. Let's see what there's next, maybe. Adoption of state action.
And I know 10.1.2 came from the subdivisions, chapter 50, but then it doesn't have,
It refers to.
I wonder if it is, are you looking under subdivisions now in 50?
Ryan, yeah.
Because there are, just as a preface, there are some things that were brought into this article from 50, from subdivisions. So it may have come from that.
I'm not finding that language just even in a general search.
Can we go to 50 right here, Robin?
Yeah, if you can go and then.
50 in general.
It's definitely-
Um,
Go to purpose and go up.
Good news is, I'm taking notes on definitions.
For developers.
So that,
This seems, is this a bigger issue that we're not going to be able to address here?
I'm sorry,
I
what?
said this whole thing about must conform, is this a bigger issue that,
if you want to set that aside and have, that's something work with me because I'm gonna
Have an issue with it, yeah.
yeah, have an
Yeah,
issue with it
okay,
as
so let's
well.
go, yeah.
So
okay,
I'll take it off their hands.
Yeah,
okay. Again, we don't have a lot of value there. But yeah, thanks for looking into that, because that, although I like the wording here,
I've got the sense.
but
It changes a dynamic significantly.
exactly.
I have a question then, if we're going to go ahead and move on B2. Does the city do a 5-year capital plan or a 7-year? I thought it was a 5-year capital improvement plan.
OB2, the current, yeah.
But I'm not sure. I didn't have time to look it up. But for some reason, I thought their capital
We
improvement plan
can,
was
we can
5.
double check on that.
We need a year in there? We need to have a 5-year or 7-year? Can't just say the current capital improvement plan?
Yeah, the CIE, well, what I would think was the CIE, but.
Jackie literally forwarded that to me today.
Yeah, I know. So I think it's 5, but we'll double check.
But we need a year in there. We can't just remove the 7-year or 5-year. We can't just have it read the current capital improvement plan.
I think it was the idea that, because I think there's also a 1-year plan, that this was supposed to be the long-term
Okay,
plan.
all right. Sold.
Or there might be a 2-year plan. Yeah, I think there's a short one and like an immediate and a multi-year. I actually listen when Bernadette presents.
Okay, anything else on 2?
On D, I'm wondering, because it talks about the Director of Community Development and the Director of Public Works, but then it says the director, is that either director may either refuse to approve, or is it just so, because it talked about the 2 of them,
Right.
but then it said just one of them may refuse, and I didn't know if it was either director.
Okay. So
Applicable.
that's D. So what they did was whenever development, they added and the director of community okay. So they added director. So I think the original 48, when it referred to director in general, would be director of public works. So Sarah inserted director of community development, comma, director of public works, or the appropriate agency. So whatever the convention is to talk about each of the, I think
Yeah,
the
I'm
director
okay.
is known as
I'm
the,
okay with that part. It's at the
Other
the
part.
last phrase on that, the last 2 lines.
right, and that's,
What
okay.
about
The
that
director
director
may
instead
either.
of the director? That
Well,
director.
but there is no director
director.
anymore. But I think it was
Well-
originally the director of public works because a lot of this ordinance was concentrated around
Yeah.
the director of public works.
However, we're talking about refusing to approve a plat or requiring the rearrangements of lots. So I think that's the community development director.
It is, yeah, you're right.
So maybe the director is correct here because the director without any caveats or descriptors is the community
Yeah.
development director.
Right.
Okay.
So they
Yeah, so just, yeah,
override.
Leave that.
director
Right.
and then comma, director of public works. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I just wanted clarity that I was reading it.
Point.
So you delete of community development, so it'll read land for public use and the director, comma, director of public works or the appropriate agency finds it, blah, blah, blah. And then the director may, but what we mean by that director is the community development director. On D.
Okay, and then the online comment, as indicated by section, is that necessary?
That is in letter A, 1011A, general applicability.
So it reads, conformance with this article is required, comma, as indicated by section, comma, except as as provided for in paragraph B below.
Form-based code.
We need that by section? To make any
What do you
difference,
think,
that by section is in there or
Paul?
not?
I don't know what it's trying to refer to.
I don't either. Do we take that out?
Yes.
Okay, so remove, so conformance with this
yeah,
article is
it's-
required except as provided for in paragraph B below. Okay?
So as we're about to turn the page,
No, no,
I'm sorry, but so what did we decide we're doing with regard to this A where we're bringing in the comprehensive plan?
We're gonna look into it
I'm
more.
gonna
Yeah,
work on-
it's a
You
more
gu- I just wanted to know
illegal
about the
thing.
action
Yeah,
item.
yeah,
So
no,
that,
that's
is that going
action.
to become a parking lot item?
Right. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
It may get changed because if we can't find where it came from, then it doesn't need to be in here.
Yeah, and as we turn the page, E on the next page, which finishes up that section, is also, I think, problematic.
okay, let's move that then. Page 3,
Good segue.
section E.
E.
Yeah.
This
Well-
is, so on 10.3E, there's a space before the period at the end that's can be eliminated.
But there was a bigger problem with the whole sentence, wasn't there, Ron?
Well, I think it just draws you back to paragraph A, which is.
When
the-
we correct this, when we correct A,
That'll go
E
away.
should become okay.
My question on that is, we have a may, the director may not approve developments. I mean, on line 1
I
and
think
E,
that's
do we want a may not? I mean, that seems kind of, leaves a lot up to the director.
I like that one to be a shall not.
Okay,
Or must not,
Will not.
or shall not. Yeah, okay.
I feel like there's a convention on this one.
Okay. Shall not approve developments when the plan features specified but are not incorporated. A through E.
the director shall not, in E,
On B2, that a fee simple free to, that, should there be a comma, a fee simple free to the city?
Is that a fee simple grant? I know a fee
don't know
simple
what-
is, I know a fee simple is some legal term, but
That's
is
right.
a
D
fee,
is for
a
a
fee
deed.
simple
free.
deed?
No, fee simple is usually related to like a deed.
Oh,
But I don't know what fee simple free means, and even the one above it too, it says on the plans
I guess
and
it's free just
recorded.
means it's not going to charge the city for the title. It's a fee simple, free to the city.
Okay,
What's a fee simple?
Fee simple means you own title without reservation.
let me see. What,
I'm sorry, but
So is it always just a fee simple, or is it a fee simple title? It's a fee
like
simple,
there's no reverter clause, no
it's just a,
condition subsequent
like
that-
this,
that
but I
might
don't because I
take
can't
the
see
property
this one.
back. It's not
So it's
theoretically not
on
subject to a,
this one, 'cause
I say not subject to a mortgage, but that could come in after the fact.
Yeah, it's almost like you own it for, it's like marketable, free and clear in
Yeah.
a sense.
is a simple a noun?
Fee simple is like one term.
Yeah.
so should it read, a fee simple
Free, maybe. fee
shall
simple,
be
comma,
free to the city? Should we put a shall be free to the city? 'Cause that
Must
does-
require, as developers submit plans and locations, the city must require either.
Even that number 1 is also, doesn't make sense. On the plans and recorded, or reserved right away on the plans. But what?
Developers submit plan, the city must require either. See, the problem is it's almost incorporating the title into part of the sentence, which I don't like. Be complete sentences. Reserved right away.
Robin, in that.
Yeah, I mean,
same-
there's two ways for the city to effectively get roads. One is it's shown on a site plan as dedicated to the city, which the city then accepts the dedication by approving the plan with that shown on the plan. The other way is they provide you with a deed that says from John Smith to the city, road described as this in fee simple, and they won't charge anything. So
But
that's
would
what
you
it's
call it
described.
a fee simple transfer free to the city?
I
is it a
find, I mean, yes.
Yeah, I kept saying, a fee simple is like.
Fee simple title.
I mean, you could say a fee simple deed
title.
Simple title,
or fee simple deed.
deed, all right. Deed make more sense to me?
Except the problem is they can't give if, and I'm not even sure if they can really do that, because it says, as developers submit plans and locations, blah, blah, the city must require either a reserved right of way on the plans and recorded, because this is a fee simple free to the city at LDP permitting. I mean, we don't ask for anything at LDP. It's not till the final plat that they,
Then that needs to change.
That's-
yeah, I
that's
mean,
it.
I don't see how that can happen because a land disturbance permit is before they even create a final plat.
It doesn't make
And-
sense at all.
So that's when they create the streets, is that final plat. Now, I do agree that in the old fashioned Fulton County, they would do zoning conditions and make them reserve a right of way, and they would show the reserved right of way on the plans. And even on a plat, they would show it.
Right, which is number one.
But number two, I don't think can really happen.
Can happen, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
but
I
I mean, we never ask for stuff at LDP.
I understand.
We don't, we should be according to
Maybe you
this.
should be.
Or no. Now
You don't have
can.
to. It just says that's one of the ways you can do it.
Well, I think there's two questions here, if I read this correctly. One is the wording on fee simple transfer free, just fee simple transfer or deed, I think Sumit said. That's one piece, is to help clear up the fee simple free. And the other one is, when do we get that? I think those are two separate, am I reading that correctly?
Mhm.
There are two separate issues on this one sentence.
Yeah, and actually then on 1, 2, I think it's a reserved right away on the plans and recorded plat. It's not and recorded what? Recorded plan,
Could be on-
recorded plat?
It could be a deed.
Recorded
though.
plat, you just say
Plat or
on the recorded
deed.
plat.
Yeah.
Well, reserved right of way isn't deeding over land. It's just a reservation if the city or whatever entity ever needs to take it
Okay,
over.
so one can be a reserved right away on the plans and recorded plat.
Put plat-
Right.
Okay, well, let's add plat behind that, and then,
A fee simple transfer to the city, free to the city at LDP permitting.
right.
Since that's sooner than the actual recording of the plat, i.e. part 1, do you want to keep it in there and decide whether you enact it, enforce it?
I don't care about the timing if they want to turn it in early. I think there may be issues if they get a permit that says.
So
we're
first of
gonna go
all, we
out-
don't want the street until the street is finished. At
Ah,
LDP, it's not even constructed
Yeah.
yet. So I don't
Right.
understand the point. Why would we take on something, a piece of land that's not developed? So this totally doesn't even make sense. So
Well,
Number
that's-
2 doesn't even need to be
So
there.
we're gonna remove it.
so when do you want the fee simple transfer?
it's at the signing and approval of the final plat.
Okay, then let's say that.
Because
instead
we
of
Final
LDP.
plat.
we don't allow an approval of a final plat till the road has been done.
Or, okay, think about
Or
our large
bonds.
lot minor plats.
Yeah.
So if you think about Homestead, we've got a minor plat. It will never go back to a final plat stage. So, but we will get as-built.
Yeah, but there's no streets we're taking either. They're private.
No, that's correct.
So,
And it's a drive.
yeah, it's not a street.
So then what I'm hearing is a fee simple transfer free to the city at final plat registration, or what did you
So
say?
at
Brett?
the approval, at the time
Of final plat recording.
of the approved or of the, what you said, of
Final
the,
plat
Final
approval?
plat,
Okay,
of the
recorded.
At the
final plat.
time of final plat
Final.
approval.
okay.
recorded. Final plat recorded.
Yeah.
And it's all because I didn't know what a fee simple was.
Yeah. Good catch.
Okay.
I have more on that page.
So do I.
Okay.
On the top of the next, 10.2.1A, all developments and subdivisions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, I need Robin to tell me on the development that we approved in the northeast corner of our city, the
It's by
70
the-
lots.
Yeah.
Did we not approve that the water is coming from Cherokee County into Milton?
Or either Cherokee or
Oh, it's
Forsyth.
for
Or
site.
Forsyth?
Mhm.
But here we say it shall be regulated by Fulton County.
Good catch.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I remembered that too.
Yeah.
We allowed water to come in from Forsyth for them.
Correct.
And I think it's coming from the east, not the north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
What was all
Fire public.
three?
And that gets into some of the,
Milton, Forsyth, and Cherokee. was
we have
involved.
parts of Milton on Forsyth sewer too.
If that would cover it or not.
No.
So just add by Fulton and Forsyth County and or?
Or
Or,
Fulton County,
No,
or
I-
can we refer to the IGA, to an IGA?
Right.
So
Well-
maybe we've got an IGA on.
Right.
that.
I mean, the
So maybe we
council
say-
had to do a intergovernment agreement.
So regulated by Fulton County
But this,
and/or some agreed upon,
Intergovernment
Intergovernmental.
agreement.
correct?
she's looking at you, Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know the details of the arrangement in order to state affirmatively what
Right.
it is. And, I mean,
I'm just saying,
Well-
anytime we would get water from another county, it would require some sort of an
Intergovernmental
intergovernmental
agreement.
agreement.
these agreements exist and apply. So stating it that they're regulated by them doesn't change anything.
But they're no longer regulated by Fulton County. It's a IGA with Forsyth County.
or neighboring county?
Yeah,
Spring
because
County?
you got Cherokee all the way across the top too.
Yeah.
If they're regulated by Fulton County and or Forsyth County as applicable, if they're separate.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, when this original was, I'm sure came from
Fulton.
Fulton County,
Yeah, right.
although it's very interesting. Maybe
the new-
Maybe that's why the manor is supplied by Fulton County Water and not by
At Forsyth
Forsyth,
County.
even though
sewer.
it's Forsyth sanitary sewer.
That's right.
Maybe that's why they made them do that. Because I'm pretty sure that it's very difficult for people in the manor. They have a bill from Forsyth for sanitary sewer, but a bill from Fulton for water. So I think this new plat or this new subdivision is something new.
Yeah.
So,
So one suggestion I think I heard was water supply and services should be regulated by Fulton County or a neighboring county through an IGA.
Something
By an
like
IGA,
that.
yeah.
Why are we putting this here?
Because we have one place that water supply and services are not regulated by Fulton
right,
County.
there's a subdivision in the
Why is it here in
northeast
general?
that the city council has already approved an IGA for Forsyth to supply water.
That I would, or pursuant to, and if we can name that IGA,
Okay,
I would describe the IGA.
okay.
But could this also be future IGAs? So that we don't have to get, because effectively, they should-
Because we could have the same thing with Cherokee.
yeah.
This again gets to why are we saying it's regulated somewhere else if it's regulated somewhere else? What are we telling? I mean,
What
we're not
tr-
regulating.
Well, we're trying to fix the problem of we have at least one instance or water supply and services are
Yeah, I
not
understand. I
regulated by
mean,
Fulton.
even including the sentence about water supply is regulated by Fulton County, it's like, we don't regulate water supply. I mean,
Right. Yeah, I guess Paul's question is, why do we care? Why is anything
Oh,
listed in
because
here
we're
about who's
not
regulating
regulating
that?
it.
yeah,
But in one case, it's regulated by Forsyth.
if we want to say it's not regulated by the city, look somewhere else, you know. With that, effectively, that's the same thing. If we try to be as broad to capture everything that may occur in the future, it's not really going to help anyone look right now. But if we want to state what the situation is, which is fine, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. If we say it's Fulton County or this agreement that exists, so you know what to look for. You say, or you could say, or other other intergovernmental agreements with other jurisdictions.
I think that's kind of
You can say that.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
what Judy
Okay.
kind of said. Water supply and or services shall be regulated by Fulton County or Fulton or neighboring counties via an IGA.
You don't even have to say other neighboring counties, you say
Or
other
other
jurisdictions.
authorized county or
You can say other jurisdictions. I mean,
jurisdiction or
you
whatever
wanna get water
jurisdiction
from-
regulates that water.
City of Cumming.
Okay,
And also, there's a difference between water and sewer.
And this is only water.
Yeah.
Yeah, sewer's the next section. I got comments on that one too.
Sewers, yes. Sewers coming from somewhere else.
so
So here's what's interesting though, when a public water supply is not available, i.e. this new subdivision, then Fulton County was supposed to approve that water supply.
Which would be a well,
And B,
right?
so if they didn't have one, they were supposed to get it was supposed to get approved by Fulton County.
Health department.
Health Department.
Yeah.
How about by a county health department?
I don't think we,
I know, it's getting,
Leaves it open.
I'm not so concerned about that. I mean,
I don't understand what the concern is. Where a public water supply is not available, each lot in the subdivision must be furnished with a water supply system approved by the Fulton County Health Department.
so
Well,
Fulton
but
County Health
it's-
Department then has to
approve the
approve the
IGA.
water coming from Forsyth? That's what
no, but this is for wells. They only approve the wells.
Didn't- Well, no,
Well,
there wasn't a public water supply on this subdivision. It had no water.
You're still talking about, okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no water up there. So this would say,
But it doesn't say public. It says with a water supply system approved by Fulton County Health Department. I really believe that instead of a public water supply, when it's not available, each lot must go to Fulton County Health Department to get a well permit. That's what that's saying.
Well, then it's okay because
Because it doesn't
Lots
say
have a
public.
public water supply available to it now,
well, it will.
or it will. I think the idea is if it's not a public water supply, which I heard someone say. a well,
Right, yeah, it's
the-
about, I
the
mean,
Health
yeah.
Department just has to
If,
approve.
if there's quite a few areas in northern part
but
of
your
the
reference
county.
is that Fulton County should have approved the intergovernmental agreement. I think there was a lead on that. I don't think they just, because it was the same from Cherokee County, right? They all agreed that this one development was going to be supplied water from Forsyth County. So at some point, whomever that applicant was to merge all of that, I'm sure had to get authorization from Cherokee and from Fulton. I can speak to the
Developer.
developer and see about that. But I know
no,
for a
because we
fact.
never, we approved it, but on the plan, it was there, but we would never know, if Fulton County said, hey, we're not gonna do it. We wouldn't know.
Well, I think those IGAs are recorded at the same time that the plat's recorded, so it would all reference it. There are notes on the plat that references where the water source is coming from. So I do know on typical plats, it says that the water source is provided for someone, so it would likely say Forsyth County. And then it may reference an IGA that has it. And that IGA agreement may have some authorization of some type from Fulton County. That's what I can confirm from the developer.
Okay.
But when that final plat comes in, that's something that we look for to make sure that Fulton County and/or whatever jurisdiction is authorizing that water supply has been authorized on that plat.
Right, and this is actually the health department, not the water department.
Correct. Public, it's either Fulton County Public Works or it's the Department of Health for septic. So
Which it
water is
says that.
Public Works.
So I think going back to this, I think this is written okay now.
I do too.
Because again, we're talking about where public water supply is not available. Okay, so that means wells. That means a well, that's the only thing.
Okay.
You know, each lot in the subdivision must be furnished with a water supply system approved by the Fulton County Health Department. That seems to read okay to me now. Because it's not public water. We're not saying if you get your public from a different public.
Yeah, I was concerned about the future tense. Right now, there is no public water supply there. There will be a public water supply, but it's not there currently.
Well, that goes to one then, in water supply and service show.
Yeah,
Well,
okay. I don't want them
Going
to get-
nowhere fast. Okay.
I don't want them to get in trouble because they should have had Fulton County's approval and didn't get it.
I'll make a note to I can check with the developer on that.
because that comes up, Fulton County comes up on some other stuff too. Okay, so now, anybody else on 3? Nothing
So
on
what did
one?
we come up with to say regulated by Fulton County?
Or otherwise,
or
or
other-
other authorized jurisdiction.
Yeah.
We not just say water supply and services shall be regulated by providing county or the county provider? General, basically wherever you're getting your water from, that county has to regulating it?
I mean,
I
it's like
think we used
99% of the time going to be Fulton County. I'd rather keep Fulton County in it and then say, or other, whatever you were starting to say.
Approved
Or
jurisdiction.
other authorized
Authorized
jurisdiction, because it
jurisdiction.
needed a specific IGA to do it. Not like,
Right.
Authorized jurisdiction.
All right, ready to move on to 4?
yeah, so 10.2.3A, we've got that one section of the manor, or we've got most of the manor that is regulated by Forsyth County on sewer.
Right.
Well, I had that circled too. I mean, that doesn't open us up for, to have Fulton, it says regulated by Fulton County. That doesn't open us to have Fulton County come in and regulate where the additional sewer lines can go, does it?
Well, they can't do
Well, they
anything
can't
more than what's
anyhow.
on the sewer map. So we tell them if they can, I mean, we're the one who dictates where the sewer goes,
Right.
but if
Okay,
sewer's
all right,
needed.
If you're
it's-
comfortable with that, I'm good with that. I just didn't, it's just a little concerning when looks like we're giving up a lot to Fulton County on this. That's my only concern there.
Now, did we have to do an IGA to, this probably predates, this may predate the city, but was there an IGA done to allow the manor to get their sewer from Forsyth?
I believe so, yes.
Well, so do we use the same language or other
I-
authorized jurisdiction?
The manor private sewer though? Would you need a governmental?
I mean, it's run by
It's run by
Forsyth.
Forsyth.
I think
Okay.
originally it was private, but now
Okay.
they have it, so,
Oh, I think we need to say same thing.
okay.
Or other authorized jurisdiction.
Right.
Okay. All right,
I'm not sure if that package plant supports more than the manor. It might. There are other homes up there that it might. I'm not sure. I know where it is.
all right. Anybody else have anything on 10?
10.23C, I was just gonna say, should it say originally platted lot configuration?
Yeah.
Then I had one on 10.2.4A1. It says prepared by a professional engineer or landscape architect. Do we care what kind of engineer that is preparing the proper drainage plans? Aren't there a number of different professional engineers?
So a professional engineer has part of their licensing. It's just like they won't go outside their licensing because their insurance doesn't cover them. So they're not gonna, a professional engineer that's licensed as a hydrologist is not going to do
Okay, but this
yeah.
is saying they could. But
You're
we're using
okay.
something else to say that. Right? This is just saying all you need to be is a professional engineer.
Yeah, professional
Currently
engineering.
registered to
Engineer,
practice in the
term,
state
like
with
a
a
PE,
stamp,
like a-
yeah.
Right, but there's
It's
many
a-
disciplines. That's all I'm
There's
saying.
many disciplines, but they have to be licensed and they don't work outside their license typically. So I just wanted, and there are registered landscape architects as well in the state of Georgia. So just to be clear, this is not a registered land surveyor that can do this.
Correct, and we know that, yeah, or landscape architect, yeah, must be prepared by, yeah. mhm.
Yeah, so,
All
so Rumbelow and Reese can't do these
No,
plans.
what they do is they subcontract with PEs to do
Okay,
their
for
work,
for
so they
hydrology
don't
work, okay.
do it themselves.
They're an RLS.
Yeah, they're
not
not
a
a PE.
professional.
Also, just jumping back, I just pointed out in 10.2.3, the sanitary sewer C. The last line on that is in accordance with Fulton County sewer specifications. Should we change that to Fulton County or neighboring jurisdictions or corporate
Same.
jurisdictions?
Same wording as we used in the water. Yeah.
Same wording as we used in A.
Authorized jurisdiction.
Yep, good catch.
Yep.
And I think that would be in B at the bottom of that as well.
Okay,
And then on 10.2.4a, I think you want the comma after soil erosion deleted because we're talking about soil erosion or soil deposition. So I think soil erosion or deposition.
Okay.
So this, strike the comma after erosion.
okay. All right, anything else on 4? All right. 5, anybody have anything on 5?
The only thing in 6, I don't think we've been hyphenating 15 dash months. I think it's just 15 space months.
Well, I had a question on that whole statement, though. The owner must maintain the storm drainage facilities during grading and construction and for 15 months after final plot approval. What happens on month 16th? He no longer has to maintain that? They no longer have to maintain that? After 15 months, they don't have to maintain that anymore, right?
Well, they have bonds, right?
Yeah, they have bonds, and this is
For
stormwater
streets.
management.
But why do we, I mean, why do we give up, why do we say they're no longer after 15 months in our
Well,
ordinance?
hopefully they've
Well,
closed
hopefully by
out their
then,
bond.
the developer's closed out and then
Right.
that they either have a maintenance agreement with that manufacturer of that stormwater device or whatever,
But if
or
they-
the HOA
Right,
takes
but if they don't, according to this, they could walk away.
it. Mhm.
Is that a
This is
concern?
keeping there longer than they otherwise would want to.
Correct, correct.
They want to
Owner
walk
must
away.
maintain the storm drainage during grading
soon
and
as the final plat's-
construction and for 15 months after final plat approval.
Okay,
Because once the final plat is completed,
right.
then they're constructing the lots and everything. You would hope they would complete within a certain time period, but then the bond I think matches this and then the bond is actually for 18 months and then can be extended.
Okay, but the city's just saying 15, we don't care, we're done after 15 months. We're good with that?
Unless it wants it to match the bond
How long is the bond?
duration, typically 18.
And they don't have to transfer, I mean, you guys tell me if we're good with,
Well, it might be a good
letting somebody
idea
go
to
after
do the
15
18
months?
if it's an 18-month bond maximum. They can always close it out, right, if they,
Oh, sure.
yeah.
Mhm. So let's,
But
we'll put the bond amount. Or
Okay.
bond
For
duration.
okay. Or bond duration.
Mhm.
Okay, bond duration,
Match bond duration. We'll get that language.
okay. Okay, anybody else have anything on 5? All right. 6, anybody have anything on 6?
On 3, applicants are encouraged to carry out an innovative detention retention layout that is intended to make such facilities, or is it innovative detention retention layouts. So is it singular or plural? If it's singular, I think it would be better to say an innovative. If it's plural, then we should say layouts and are. So are they
I
encouraged to
think
just come out?
layouts. I think it should be layouts. You can choose, it needs to be innovative, but there's more than one layout that,
Yeah.
Okay.
So it should be layouts that are intended.
yes.
Then I had a question on E. On the right-hand side, the applicant should consider the use of plant materials. Should consider, might want to think about, might want, you know, can we say something better than should consider? Not exactly strong language in my world.
Well, I guess it's
May consider, if it's permissive, it should be may, right?
right.
Well,
Why even have it in there then?
if it's permissive, it doesn't matter.
Right.
That's what I always come back to, like,
Is
you can
this,
put this in there, it's not really enforceable.
so
it
is
doesn't really
so
matter.
is this a may or is it a shall?
I think it's,
Because it either should be shall or it should be may.
I think it
I
should
will
be.
say, even when you use the word consider, you can approve that they didn't consider it and reject it. Or
I'm
or they
looking
didn't
back at
consider it, or
this.
they considered it, but then rejected it and went forward anyway.
Why don't we just say the applicant shall use
Shall.
the plant materials that naturally grow in the area?
That's the way to do it if you want them to do it for sure.
That's the way
I do. I mean,
that makes sense, right? Are we agree with that, or am I the only one talking here?
I'm looking through what the original
Okay.
proper drainage.
I mean, native
plants
species are
must-
encouraged, right?
Well-
There are some areas that there's not native, that there are, you don't want invasive, but we try to always encourage native species in the area.
Well, this is again, changing should consider to shall use plant materials that naturally grow in the area. Are we good with that?
Here, I will tell you what I find. That's what I like to say. It's easy, it's black and white. That's a lot of times I get from the staff that's applying the rules, like, well, we know we can't necessarily enforce it, but if we say it, more people will do it than won't do it, but we don't want to really cite them for not using native species. That's up to the
That's- yeah,
determination.
that's a-
I'll just tell you whether you can enforce it or not. As written, you can't really enforce an obligation to do so.
So everything from the original, or said should incur, it's the alternative design standards, all that, where it said should follow and all that, that's what it said originally. He didn't change it. That's what was, should consider blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because should's over in B also.
Whereas like under storm drain stenciling identification, like number 2, each drainage structure must be identified with the use of a City of Milton branded lid. So,
Again,
The
should,
only,
know
the
why
only thing I
there's-
can think of where you might want to give some flexibility is if the ground is just such that you're trying to get it to not erode and there's no native species, natural species that will do that, and there's a
Right.
right.
plant that's better suited for that purpose and that soil.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of being forced into it. This is, want it to be really decorative, then you're gonna pull. We're forcing them to go with native.
I mean, that's always encouraged. I think throughout even the tree ordinance, the native species list is encouraged. And if someone if someone was to revegetate an area that, let's say that they, violated, then you choose from the native species list. But that I think is a different reference than, yes, I want to plant my yard and I want seasonal color in my front beds, or something like that. I think
So,
that,
yeah, and this section is the alternative design standards, so it's not required. So I think maybe we
That's
just,
where my concern was. Does that mean that I could put brick wall all the
so
way
we do,
around
in
this?
other sections of the ordinance, we have where you, we don't allow walled structures for the detention pond.
Okay.
So we don't have bathtubs anymore or anything, we don't even allow, it has to be earthen, the
Earthen berms
earthen
around the.
berms to create the detention, so,
So we're not talking about that design in this particular section.
right. We have it in the zoning.
Very first sentence of this section says applicants are encouraged. So to me, everything in this whole section is right. Maybe instead of saying should,
So,
maybe we should say the applicant is encouraged, or we encourage consideration of use that you consider plant because they're naturally growing here.
No, I think you're right, because even at the last sentence of that paragraph at 1, to achieve that, the director may approve the following alternative designs in lieu of those in the section. So,
So Trey, you're saying strike should consider and and replace it was is encouraged to?
Yes, I'm suggesting using the same language. We encourage you to do these things instead
Yeah.
of should.
Okay.
All right, go along with that. Anywhere there should,
Bunch of them.
yeah. A, B, C, or, yeah,
Is it-
C.
On the bottom, at D2 at the end, strike the double closing
I
parents.
saw that, yeah.
Okay, we go to page 6 then, you got all the shalls to strong, okay? 7. Nice chart, take up half the page. Anything on page 7? Okay,
Can, on number 3, so 10.2.5A3, we talk about, all of this with the public works. Do we want, and no fence shall be placed across the sanitary storm sewer easements without gates to which, it specifically says the public works department, but I could see fire trying to get in there, police. Can we just say the city has full access? Or does it have to be specific to public works? Anybody else? Because we might send a stormwater person there that isn't public works, they're community development.
Makes sense to me.
yeah,
Just say, strike that, has full access, just say the city. Doesn't just have to be that department.
Okay. I would say city or county because it's talking about sanitary
Right.
sewer easements, and so I just, yeah, or county. We do have some sanitary sewer around, so I need to get to it.
touch. Anybody else on 7? We good to go to 8? Okay. We have anything on 8? Okay. 9.
So on 9B, is there a subject to that sentence? Provide that,
Doesn't make sense.
From 2 city of Milton or Fulton County GS monuments to 2 opposing property monuments on the boundary of the individual survey?
but what provides the direction? So
Where are we again?
the plat,
Be on
Top of the page.
top of the page.
I'm on
Page
B,
nine.
on page 9 at the top. Something
This is what
provides the
is
direction
on the
and
plat.
distance. Is that the plat?
Fine.
Is that, what is it that's providing that?
Might be able to explain to them how it's on a
This should be
plat.
provided to, in the form of plans for, say again now, wait.
So it says.
I don't
provide-
know. Something not defined is providing the direction and distance from to city of Milton.
I think it's the developer or the property owner.
It's actually the surveyor.
This, well,
So,
yeah.
well, but I mean, on a survey, the monuments are found. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
So when you when you have a plat, you want to know what that point of beginning is, and it typically references a Fulton County monument as to how you can find that pin.
The final plat must provide?
So is it the final plat? Is it the monument? I don't know what the subject is of that sentence.
Those monuments are to be identified on a plat, be it a minor
right.
plat
But
or
who
a
is
final plat.
supposed to provide the direction? Yeah. It would
Plat?
be,
So, but the plat provide,
the plat shall
Must.
provide the direction from to, yeah, because it's on the boundary of the individual to two opposing for any stuff, yes. I think it was the plat,
The final plat.
Or just the plat must
yeah.
provide.
And that could be
Well,
Either
A
a-
says final plat.
either a minor or a final.
Okay. The plat.
Show me where you're changing that.
Right here, so
The
see, there's
plat
no
must
subject to
provide-
it. The plat shall provide the direction and distance or show or whatever, the plat, provide the direction and distance from to city.
I don't,
now that doesn't make
Page
sense.
9,
To city.
10-9, yeah.
The
And then if it is two, it should be monuments.
here,
Yeah,
Generally, what you're doing is
monuments and iron pins, accurately.
there's a marker someplace and there's two, either city or Fulton
Mine-
points and you're triangulating on those 3 points.
Right.
Been a long time since I did that.
Find the direction.
So it's, the plat must provide the direction and distance from
See, monuments,
two.
but monuments and iron pins provide the direction and distance from two city of Milton or Fulton County GIS monuments.
And it should be monuments, because it's two.
yeah, okay.
Because basically you're
Yeah, I
you're
think you're right.
triangulating on those two other,
Yeah, but I think
Very
that
well
makes
supported.
because the title of the section is monuments and pins.
yeah.
Should say what again now? The monuments of,
The
monuments
monuments.
and pins? I mean, and iron pipes.
The plat must provide the direction and distance from two monuments to two opposing property monuments on the boundary of the individual survey. In other words, you've got to,
I mean, I'd like to check on that, to be honest with you. I don't think it's just, I think when you're referring to a piece of property, I think you refer to a monument. So it can be a survey, it can be a plat, it can be some sort of a document. So let me check with Jerry, our site engineer, on that, to see if we identify, is it a plat or a survey should provide the direction and distance? Because it's, yeah. Oh, shall.
but it should be monuments, because you're talking two of them.
That's correct.
Bruh.
Yeah. But I think part of those state monuments, or those city or county or states, are kind of like fixtures. Sometimes they're the top of a sewage or a storm
That's correct.
thing, but they're kind of where you put your stake and measure from
That's correct.
and don't move.
And are hard to find.
Yeah, if you know where to look. C, I don't know why the monument is capitalized, and then you don't need the closing parament. Or I guess you do need the closing parent, but I believe the convention is the period goes outside the closing parent. Not in that case. never mind on the closing paragraph, but the in the middle of this paragraph does not need to be capitalized.
Yes, I'll see that. Okay.
All right.
Down on B in the very last sentence, strike the comma after conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it for 9? 10. Put everything on 10. I notice there's nothing in here. Obviously, we're talking about, streetlights, but there's nothing about like the night sky or the other lighting requirements we have. Should that be listed anywhere in here? or not?
It's already in the zoning, so they have to, well, I don't know about,
Should that be here?
They do have a reference to anything,
that
Article
has-
2 through 8, which is pretty much everything else.
Oh, okay, which would include that, yeah. Good catch.
Do you think we're covered?
Yes.
We are? We're covered?
Yep.
Covered on that one? Okay.
Yep.
Great. 11? Anybody have anything on 11?
So on 1011, on page 1011, under 10.3.2D at the top of the thing, is it new public and private streets? Is the right-of-way something, is the right-of-way a descriptor of easement, or is the right-of-way separate from an access easement? Is the right-of-way a descriptor?
I think that's the right-of-way speaks to the new public and private streets. So, because you can have right-of-way, although that doesn't really, because if it's a private street, they have access easements. I mean,
But
they have
some of our
shared-
private development, like Lemon Creek, it's listed as a private access easement.
Right,
But it's
so-
also that, it's,
I mean,
it's a,
It really gets down to, is a right-of-way a type of easement, or is it a right-of-way? Is right-of-way a descriptor for easement, or is right-of-way separate from access easement?
it's separate from exit.
Then it should be rights-of-way.
Yeah.
but it's a public right of way, yeah, or
Yeah,
private.
Or rights
access
of way,
easement.
yeah.
Rights of way.
Rights-of-way.
With the hyphen in between, right? I mean,
That's how I usually do it.
yeah. Rights of way.
Okay.
Right of ways too.
Anybody else have anything on 11?
On .3.3.b. Or should it be wrong?
Yeah,
Rural,
would
I
agree.
think.
Yeah, gates.
Okay.
Struggling with the may versus shall.
Yeah, I think,
Gates not be installed in city.
Make it-
Gates shall not be.
Shall not.
And then down on E, gate permits shall be denied, will be denied. Unless that should be may.
I like that. As somebody who's very intimate with gates these days.
So the only other thing on gates, I remembered we passed an ordinance where the gates had to be set so far
yeah, it's
in,
20 feet. Yeah, that's in the zoning part.
but
yeah.
it's in the zoning part.
Mhm.
Does it need to be here?
No,
Because we
We're
already
good.
said it has to comply with Article 2 through 8. Okay.
Okay. Page 12.
I'm not.
Anybody have anything on page 12?
On, I have a note on A4. I wrote down fire exit plus gate.
Okay,
In other words, no owner or developer shall construct or maintain a drive yard or lot constructed of gravel, pebbles, or stone. And in most of them, the fire exits are usually stone, not paved.
Well, typically this, I think what they're speaking to is like if you lived on Freemanville Road, well, like,
Should I
so if
just,
you have a curb cut onto it, you have to have concrete next to the road if you have a gravel or non-paved.
Kind of like
Or
Wood
the
Road
flat-
has a
or the-
concrete apron, but then it switches to the gravel.
you're not allowed to do what caused me a flat tire on Freemanville because the rock came onto Freemanville. I ran over it and punctured my tire. Yeah, you can't have the stone from your gravel on.
Are you speaking from
road.
experience?
Yes, yes.
Speaking from extensive
When you
experience.
did your curb cut, Trey, you
I'm
had to put
thinking
a,
of the subdivision.
or do you have it paved all the way to your house?
Yeah.
Your driveway?
Like the guy was quoting it today.
Well, I was looking at the subdivision next to me, of course, built before Milton, has a gate, gravel, but then it crosses the sidewalk, drops down over the curb.
Yeah.
The fire truck would have to maneuver.
Yeah, I
that.
mean, this is more for development, yeah. Monkey,
So-
you know,
That's the past. That's why I put that in.
yeah.
I had a few questions of conformity to how we've been trying to word things in 10.3.4A3. No subdivision may be designed to completely eliminate. I think that needs to be a shall. Is shall our convention?
Mhm. Agree.
And then at the very last word, subdivision divide, the director may encourage the design of the subdivision in a manner that, if it's encouraged, should it say may rather than will?
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
You may convert, if you may encourage, I think you maybe do all the following.
Where is this again?
At the
very last
bottom
word.
right of page 12,
Bottom right, okay.
subdivision design. G.
you may encourage, you already have may in there once.
It's, if he's may and encouraging,
Yeah.
doesn't really matter what
Kind of
happens after that.
loosey-goosey.
May encourage, the will is kind of negated.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, on to 13.
On 1013, under H, I do not think there's a hyphen between stub and street. There is on dead end and there is on cul-de-sac, but I think a stub does not get a hyphen.
Sub Street, okay.
On 10.3.5A, the size, shape, arrangement, and orientation of every lot. And then at the very last paragraph on that page in G, where lots abut the lake, not abutting the lake.
In dot 3.5, A, first line of the second column, is it not be curved?
Well,
Rather of shall.
Proposed internal lot lines not on the street side, not be curved. I mean,
We should do a global search on shoulds and Shoulds and mays.
I did, yeah, that's what I thought.
Lots.
Started
Start
looking for the
here.
word
Yep.
must every place I went.
Does that mean if it's going, like your side,
Right?
Platform.
lot lines?
No, yeah, you skip, this is really this one. I don't understand.
So
On the
remove-
street side may not be curved.
D has a must, has a may in it also.
Proposed internal lot
Blanket screen may
lines
be
not,
I
required.
think that
may
means
not be
your,
curved.
your side.
You could have a curved side.
Like you
There's
could
all
draw it like
sorts of,
that.
yeah.
Oh.
Like if the stream is your side setback.
Oh, that's
then-
true.
Uh,
I need to.
So we got all the mays.
Did you get, it's the planted screen, is that a may or a shall? In D.
I would say may, I mean, I don't,
Okay,
yeah.
right.
But again, not, you're giving unbridled discretion to require it where there's no instructions as to. You're just saying, yeah, you can require it if you want, you don't have to require it. Prefer that it either did or didn't require it.
I mean, to be honest, that a planted screen, maybe, we have the rural view shed because that's a double frontage, so, many times. Yeah, so I'm good with it, with may, because, or if it's just a single lot that's not in a subdivision, they don't have to do anything, so. Okay.
When are you going to require it?
Huh?
When are you going to require it? It says you may require it, but you may not.
Well,
That implies
it's,
you may not
it
require
could
it.
happen in the zoning under the rural view shed, and there's a design committee. And if they so decide that you need to do additional plantings adjacent to the street, that's where they may have to do it.
Then that's covered somewhere else.
Yes, in zoning, yeah. Under the rural view shed.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, then how do you do because not every lot will
But then you
require.
need to say when it will and when it won't. Yeah, basically, the legal concept is you can't give someone free, a non-elected official the discretion to do whatever they want without giving them directions as when you do this and when you do,
And I guess what I'm saying, it's in the zoning.
then it should just be in the zoning and we don't worry about it here. So
You're right, yeah.
Okay. All right, 14, page 14.
On 14, obviously, clean up the space.
Mm-hmm.
And then under 10.4.2B, isn't the OCGA articles rather than chapters?
Okay.
chapter,
Says chapter
there's
32.
chapters, articles, and section, I mean, it's chapter 48 of the code. The first one is chapter, it's title 48.
But this
Wait,
is talking about
wait, maybe I'm looking at the
OCGA.
wrong
This is
thing. I'm
OCGA.
sorry.
In B, OCGA. I thought OCGA
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
was
was looking up
articles.
above. It is likely Title 32. Let me just confirm what Title 32 is.
I'm trying to find the,
Yeah, it'll be Title 32.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back on 10.3.6. All the May stuff again. If I'm reading this as a citizen, Director of Public Works, Director may require a public street for interparcel connection. next line may also require shared access. So how do I know?
When we do a plat, although I didn't think that, or private streets that we could require interparcel, but
I didn't think so either.
let us check on that.
Very private, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Done with
Maybe
four.
that's why it says may.
I
don't know.
We might want to, we
We're
might
gonna
not.
keep, we may want to keep that in there, not shall.
All right, on to 15. Are we done with 14? On to 15? Okay, anybody have much on 15?
Again, I would have liked to see a link to chapter 48 of the Code of the City of Milton, even though it sounds like that will be a challenge.
So I think what we were thinking was that when it gets codified, they can do a link to, enforcement will be by engineering to, according to the city. But this is 48. Let me check on that. Because that doesn't make sense. This is basically the 48, but there may be some stuff left over in 48. So we'll check on that. But nonetheless, whichever way it is,
Well, the testing, I think what this is the enforcement will be by the testing, so maybe there's
yes, more
something left in
technical
48
stuff,
about
yeah.
testing.
Okay, everybody else having 15?
Fix the spacing.
All right, 6.
E should be with the next paragraph. So
Yeah, spacing.
drop it, so that's good.
All right, 16. Anybody have anything else on 16?
Yeah, on the top of the second column, we have a few acronyms here, ADT and VP. And I think we should probably put the words in.
Yeah, we got that with, okay, that is going to be,
And
it's
Average daily
tri-
trips.
Trips, yeah.
Vehicles per day.
Oh,
I think those are TLAs, aren't they?
So,
Three-letter acronyms.
Oh, yeah.
so in 10.4.4, here we're calling them gravel roads, and in all of our chapter on zoning, we refer to them as unpaved roads. Do we need to be consistent and call them unpaved roads here rather
Unless
than
we mean
gravel?
something different, I think we should be consistent. That probably happened because
So
we
I
took
think
took
under
two
the,
different codes.
but I think under the definition of unpaved, that's synonymous with gravel. I mean, I'm open to whatever, but.
Because
in
I
the
know
definition.
it was one of those, like if you go, it talks about unpaved roads and you can do this and you can only have 3 acres abutting them and all that. But
Right.
now we call them gravel roads. It's like, are they gravel roads or unpaved roads?
If
Right.
if we do intend them to mean the same thing, then we should be consistent because
Okay.
I agree. So change all the gravel to unpaved?
I like gravel instead of unpaved.
But I'm just saying, I mean,
Rural, we are rural, and rural
That's great.
references are gravel.
I'm just saying in the definition of gravel, I think it's,
It's just the opposite. A public unpaved road surfaced with gravel is an unpaved road.
okay.
So, and what we have, that may have a paved extension,
Right, yeah, so I think, I
but
guess. I
the
was
whole
thinking the
idea
other
is
way
there
around.
isn't such a thing as a gravel road. There's only an unpaved road.
Okay, so
And we have a lot of restrictions about what you can do along an unpaved road,
yeah, okay.
which makes me want to call
Keep the
this an
un-
unpaved road.
We need to change everything to unpaved. I thought it was the opposite. I thought that it was like
semantics.
synonymous.
Paved with gravel.
Now, it's
Covers all the
interesting.
grass roads we have also.
Now, it's interesting, in the definitions, it's a gravel road is an unpaved road, and it has the list of all
Right.
30 of them.
Right, I guess that's what I was thinking of.
But yet, when it talks about in the zoning code, it's all about what you can and cannot do along an unpaved road.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a definition of gravel.
Well, then I think we have a problem. is as we go on to roadway geometry, grading, I don't think we'd be doing much grading on an unpaved.
Actually, they do grading.
Actually,
Every
yes.
year, Walter.
I do it.
They do.
Nick's gets graded like once a quarter, or not Nick,
Well, the
yeah.
gravel
Wood.
roads. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Said, you know, I guess, again, because the definition of unpaved is gravel, so.
Gravel is unpaved.
Wasn't paid, yeah.
But it seems in zoning, we talk about the restrictions on unpaved roads. And then, of course, where we list the unpaved, the gravel, the listings of the road are under gravel.
So the
Don't we have
results
that
are,
reference to all of the approved gravel roads in Milton?
Yeah, it's in the
It's in the
definition.
definitions under gravel roads, not unpaved roads.
Right. We keep them both. Keep them both.
Well, I guess that's what,
I'm just concerned that we do kind of say one means the other and the other means the one. We have
I
been
know. No, I know.
very, very persistent at keeping that 3-acre lot abutting a gravel road or an
Right.
unpaved road. And it's
yeah, they
maybe we go
reference it
back
as
there and say
unpaved, yeah.
an unpaved or gravel road.
so the result is we're leaving gravel here?
Yeah, you can leave it here. Yes, you should be able to leave it here.
Okay, after I messed everything up.
Oh, page 18.
One,
Okay, so I was right to begin with.
okay. Page 17, anybody got anything on 17?
But I think we should go back when we refer to the zoning restrictions on unpaved road and
Correct.
say that unpaved / gravel
Gravel.
road.
Yeah, probably so.
Let's add that to our list now.
Go put that in the parking lot. Got it. Okay.
All right, 17 already.
Page spacing.
Anybody have anything for 17?
Under F, we need a link to 10.5.
I'm sorry, what's that?
No. On A, and this may be one for later discussion, under D, major subdivision streets is 35 miles per hour. And this refers back to somewhere else. Where does 35 come up? In the past, I thought it was all subdivisions were 25 miles per hour.
I think they're just saying it's designed for 35. Doesn't say they're posted for 35. Is that the difference?
No, because this talks about if it's 35 miles an hour, it's a 200 feet.
Right.
But if,
And other major subdivisions, so it says major subdivision street design for 35. Then 2 says other major subdivisions is 100 feet.
Well, I think meaning that they have less, that it's,
do we allow subdivisions to be 35 miles an hour?
I thought we did not, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think, I agree with that. I don't think it's 35.
no.
I think it's 25.
Yeah.
But it says in C, the vertical alignment references 25 miles per hour. D is the horizontal major subdivision streets.
Yeah, I know.
Designed for
I
35.
X'd it out too.
I don't know.
I know this city's looking at coming up or something. There's a transportation study on 35 and 25 and which roads and all that. Reducing in most cases from 35 to 25. So if that happens, why would we want a 35 mile an hour in any subdivision?
Wouldn't that, again,
We'll
wouldn't that just be
double check on
over-designed?
that.
If it's designed for 35 but posted at 25?
I think it's the same idea. Design, it's not that it's. Well, it's designed so if people speed and go 35, it would still be safe.
Yeah,
In
maybe
other
so.
words.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
But
we
even
design it
so-
for 35, assuming people won't go 25.
Even so, I think the design is more stringent for
Than the
35 than it
speed.
is for 25. The one I'd have 35 in here. They can design it to 35, but have it posted 25.
Okay, because it's a definition.
Because it'd be
Does that
safer,
make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
because you assume people
Okay.
might, on occasion, drive more than 25 in a subdivision.
Yeah. All right, anything else on 17?
You did catch the link on, do you need the link for section 10.5 on F?
Okay.
It's a number of pages later, so.
Okay. All right, 18.
I could not figure out why the highlight was on 18, except then a couple pages later, they referred to the driver's eye being assumed to be 4 feet. So I don't know if they highlighted that, because this was a conflict.
Yeah, so there's a reason one is for vertical and one is for horizontal. We had this,
So
we
is there
spent
any
2
reason-
hours with Public Works about
Oh,
Clearing up some of this.
clearing some of the issues.
so it doesn't need to be
coming up.
highlighted?
No, that doesn't need to be
No.
highlighted.
Okay. All right, anything else on 18? 19 is the Monty Python reference, a shrubbery under A. Is that a,
Oh, we didn't even catch
do
that.
we use shrubbery? Is that an official city term?
Maybe they have a
Bring me a shrubbery.
shrubbery.
Didn't use that
Shrubbery.
word.
How do you spell
Yes,
it?
No, I think that's
You said
right.
before you
Shrubbery.
changed it.
I guess
Or do you
so.
say
We said neighbors
shrubs?
cut their shrubbery.
Ew.
A shrubbery is an area planted with shrubs.
Oh,
Okay.
Shrubbery.
I was going to say, where I grew up in Iowa, we used the term shrubbery.
I'm an Indiana, we use shrubbery too.
Yeah.
So
Midwestern knows what a shrubbery is.
You learn a new word all the time.
We'll leave it
It's an
there.
art shirt.
I just like the salute to Monty Python. That's,
Couple of acronyms in here that.
Yeah, we're gonna spell them out. Yeah, we got
okay.
that.
Yeah, I would say, since you were talking about
We even can
trees,
tell
I
you
would
what
say
it is,
shrubs.
Cause we talked to them.
Hold on.
So it's
Jesting
under-
aside, I would say it's street trees and other shrubs, because a shrubbery is an area.
Right.
And I think
And
they
other
really did mean
shrubs.
shrubs.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
actually, that was a great
Even-
catch.
Can we use that shrubbery just as like a little Easter egg in there to notice, just to make me happy? No? Okay, fine, be that way. Okay, 19, yeah, we've got anything
So,
online, we've got spelled out.
Yeah,
So
so
I've
the
got-
MUTCD will spell out.
And can we also spell out under C, ashto?
Yep, we got that one.
No.
And how about MUTCD in A?
Yep, we got that. Manual on uniform traffic control devices.
It's in two
Um,
places also in,
Well, I think that once we do it the first time, then you don't have to
it'll
do it
correct
again.
it, okay?
Do it
We've
once.
we've got a couple of shalls or shoulds,
Hmm,
like B2 at the very bottom left-hand column. In general, traffic control signs should be installed at least 7 feet, but no more than 10 feet.
And in general,
In general,
that's not really going to be enforceable.
That's not great.
no, sometimes,
So
not in general.
delete in general, traffic control signs shall be.
but just take out the in general.
Take
yeah.
out in general.
Okay.
Is that
And then,
from?
and then on 5, on the very last sentence, on the right-hand column, signs should be performance bonded at the time as a payment at a cost of $100 per sign. We get that should out of there, make it shall be.
I'm sorry,
It
say
has to
this,
be
I'm
done
I'm
by
like
the-
totally.
The right-hand column, last sentence, signs shall be performance bonded versus what's in here, signs should be performance bonded.
Right here.
In other words, do we give them a choice?
Go with May.
Yeah, may kind of like, might, could.
And then at the end of that, at the end of that, well, kind of the end of that paragraph, at the end before the page break, per sign, comma, without a space. Not a period. And then, of course, fix the page break.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. What else do we have on? Okay, the spelling consists of the spelling out the 7. I'm going for what's online. Okay, we've got where this information is found says the community development director department identifies number and location of signs. And this says it's the public works director. Which one is correct? Okay, that was one that was submitted online for page
Right.
19.
Okay,
I don't know where that is.
which,
Are these like?
yes, so we changed it under 5, sign inspections must be, we had a 5-minute conversation about this. Sign inspection must be done by the community development director before acceptance, because we're the one who accepts the final plat. Or as established by the public works, signs shall, that's what we said, yeah. We said community development director.
Okay, so removing the
5.
public works director?
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's gonna be on 5, replaced with community development.
and then,
Not just the director?
Huh? Or direct, yeah. Director.
and the only comment online is where this information is found says the community, okay, that's the same thing. Which one is correct? So those are taken care of.
Have we gone through all the other ones that she did?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
We did 3.
Again, I'm hung up. So clarification on 3, speed limit signs,
Page 20.
page 20. Speed limit sign. Speed limit signs must indicate 25 mile per hour internal to residential subdivisions. So that clears that one. Unless it is a local collector road for the development, then it could be no higher than 35.
What about it?
I mean, what are we saying? Unless it is a local collector road.
Well, I think it's, so local streets, almost everything is 25 miles per hour for streets internal to residential. So then if it's a larger, like a local collector, like something like in whatever it is, the main thoroughfare for Crooked Creek, you guys have, I mean, I'm just imagining, thinking of what a local
Me too.
collector is.
No, that's what I,
It would just be
the
a
main
higher
thoroughfare.
road
just
classification.
a regular,
Yeah.
okay.
We don't have a lot of them. I mean, just because we don't have a lot of large subdivisions, but
Yeah, if you think, maybe like if you could think over
Like
at
Windward,
Windward, like if you
yeah.
think at Windward, and they have some major thoroughfares
right.
that go through Windward,
Right.
and all the other
Yeah.
roads go off of it. I think
Yeah.
those are a little higher,
Right.
because they're also 4-lane roads.
Okay. Bless you.
Thank you.
Anything else on 20? Let's see, online on 20, we've got 2 or 2. Okay, we've got the same director issue there. Okay, there's 2 shoulds or a must.
So there's a should, not in the public comments, on number 3,
Yep,
limit sign. Should be,
there's one, yep, a little further down also on that same one.
The 2 public comments are about 4B. There's 2 instances of should.
Would be,
2 or
Street name signs for public streets must be green and street name signs for private roads must be blue. If the street has no outlet, a no outlet legend should be put on the end of the street name sign. The no outlet legend should have at least 3-inch highlighter cap on it, but that's what they're saying on those.
So we can say must.
Yeah.
Well, must or shall, whatever.
Must, I think, yeah, Caleb likes the must because
Okay.
it's not quite as,
And there's one up on top under 2 on the yield sign too.
Yeah.
In addition, yield signs should be installed on each approach of a roundabout. I don't know why that's optional.
C1B, stop signs should be.
Yeah.
Stop signs should not be.
Okay, anything else on 20? Ready to go to 21? All right. 21, anybody have anything on 21? See online, we've got a capital sign or sign.
It's on number 5. Sign,
Okay, up on the header,
header, same thing, 6.
okay. Whatever that convention is. Okay, yeah, those are all, those, should the first, and also online, for consistency, should the first initials of the words in this, oh, that's what you're saying, okay. All right. Anything else on 21? 22.
First comment is on A. First sentence, should, driveway should,
must, driveways
Okay.
must be spaced,
4 lines down is should.
must
Should be, yep.
at least.
The next comment is A. It's like 5 lines up from the bottom where it says crash data.
It should be crash data, what, I got GDOT states.
I think we,
19, new language from 2021 driving and encroachment manual.
So going back on 21, where it's the number and then roundabout sign and 6 stop ahead sign, the convention when you're down to the number level is only the leading word is capitalized.
Oh, okay,
So that is the convention
okay.
for numbered.
Okay, great.
Same on the previous page. It gets, when it's a alpha, then it's all leading letters capitalized.
Okay.
Then they'll change it all to little
Only-
again.
Or
Oh, yeah,
that was from-
It'll all be lowercase.
that verbiage is
Look at
straight
this,
from
I can
GDOT.
see
I was watching the design review board when Mary was, as a new member of the DRB, was helping them with the draft, the revision of their bylaws, and she made some comment about, my apologies in advance, you're going to probably want to poke your eyes out, but I have a number of grammatical corrections.
And getting out of the next one, should highway in both A and B be roadways?
Uh,
See roadways and I see,
Public Works, do they want to delete that?
What's that?
The
Where?
roadway versus highway.
Yeah, we just are leaving it to roadways, everything, right?
The highway.
Sorry, I'm so confused.
Where is that?
What page are we on?
we're on 22 and the comment is should highway in both A and B be roadways? I don't see a highway here.
Driveway?
Which
I think that's the next-
accesses a city roadway.
that's the next.
Roadways, I don't see highways.
It looks like that's for page 23. That comment.
Oh, maybe.
It is.
Ah, Those numbers get me confused.
And these figures are from GDOT, so that's the verbiage that they use.
Okay. Then we can,
Did we finish page 22 with the online comments?
yeah, I was actually reading, somebody here was reading comments that belonged on page 23. It was
I
based on page
see.
22. So I got that cleared up for us.
Okay, I'm like,
But we have moved on to 23.
Yeah,
Go back.
yeah.
There you go, Chair.
So on 23,
okay, so now, so number 16,
We've changed,
A is must, so driveways must be spaced, and then 4 lines down, between driveways must be at least equal to the distance traveled, blah, blah, blah. And then crash data also, that's what the GDOT thing says. Then under B, spacing standards 20,
driveway should,
got that. I thought that they were saying that maybe it shouldn't be must, because there's always going to be an event where, a situation where
Correct.
it may not exactly meet it, and they have to allow it because there's no other way to let them out. Does that make sense? That,
it can't prevent access from a,
right, you can't prevent
Yeah.
access from a parcel, and it may not be the best geometry to be able to see it, but you can't deny somebody access. So I think for
One.
20 should be, driveways should be separated, yeah.
Okay.
And
Well,
17.
They can get variances to these, right?
Huh?
They can get variances to this, right?
I don't know how they deal with it.
If we're going to the UDC, does the variance provision provide for variances to the requirements of this UDC? I just don't.
I
remember
mean,
off the
I
top
would
of my head.
imagine so,
I would rather say it shall.
and then get a
and then
variance,
If they
okay.
need to,
I-
because they have no other access, then it's a perfect situation where a variance might be needed.
Okay.
okay, on 23, did we get number C2? There's a closed parentheses at the end of that. No beginning parentheses. And then in verbiage in the figure to be more readable, nope. Is above needed, since it's in the, since that section is on another page, is above needed.
That's D1.
that's gonna get
Okay, that's. what it-
reformatted
spaced out
anyway.
Okay.
Probably above, right? Because we're not certain.
Typically, that just means it comes before, it's
Oh, okay.
somewhere, as if it were one long column, it's above.
Okay,
But if, I don't know what they're gonna, doesn't need to be in there if it's got a specific section cited.
okay. Are we done at 23? 24, oh boy.
I'll check them.
First comment is on 2.
Okay,
28.
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah, well, we're
Yeah, it
doing
needs to stay
spelled out for everything, 0 to 9. So
okay. Then we also have public director, public works director in here. That's gonna be changed to the director, or is that still public works director, or who does that? In 2,
oh, public works.
Yeah, it's still Public Works.
Um,
Community Development is just director.
right, yeah,
That's gonna stay.
that stays.
all right, and then,
The next comment is on 1.
Oh, so
right below the word
30,
table.
this be 10 to D. Said that Public Works was providing the new language for this when we met with them.
The references to the,
Should be provided to provide space for left turns. Their suggestion is
Allow.
provided to allow Second, provide to allow.
And add comma. Well, we said to add, or somebody said to add comma, should be provided.
Comma to provide space for left turns.
Yeah.
Left turns. Okay. And the spacing be fixed here, yep. Should be comprehensive transportation plan. Is that caps, I'm assuming?
Capital.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I had it fixed.
Okay.
I think that's in 3. Do you guys find that?
And 2,
Two,
2 and
yeah,
3.
no, yeah, we're gonna write them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna
And
be
then
wrote.
it looks like, Robin, we've got some suggestions in E1 that the last sentence be, instead of spacing is from center to center, to rewrite that spacing is from radius return to
Right,
radius
so we're gonna
return.
include all those changes that I
Okay.
gave you guys, that email from Public Works
Oh, good.
that we worked on, all the technical stuff.
That will align better with what the
Right.
design guides are.
Okay, the only online are again spelled out to one, fill out numbers, okay? Anybody else have anything on 24? Okay, nope, we're more than halfway done though. All right, page 25, anybody have anything? Online, we've got a few. Should driveway be driveways?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Signal spacing would be easier to read if it were larger. No, okay. I don't know if we
It's
got-
okay. I mean, it's not horrible.
All right, that's all on 25?
It's columnized, that's why it's smaller, but
Yeah.
anyway. Okay,
Interesting how during the night, the levels get well, it's not horrible.
Somebody
binoculars
surely can read it.
Can't imagine when we get to 40, what it's gonna be.
I don't see it anywhere. Looks good. Looks good.
I didn't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it.
Not horrible, new standard.
I have to say, I think we're going to find when this is finally published that the first half of every article is going to be more precise than the second half of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, then the bourbon kicks in. No. Okay, so now we're on 26. Anybody have anything on 26?
You said we're in the last half now.
Yep, nope, next. Okay, we got the AASHTO spelled out. Yeah, for ease of reading, should there be a comma between 4-1 and guardrail?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, you good with those? All right, anything else on 26? All right, jumping to 27 is a favorite of mine.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Need some more pictures.
Yeah, can we make the pictures bigger, please? Okay, 28. There was a comment on 27 online. What did these two figures refer to in the document? They don't have a title. They belong in a different subsection.
Okay, so actually we talked to Public Works about that and
We're gonna,
See all of it.
Fix it.
we're gonna assign it, what is it?
reference it correctly.
10.5.3C. So
Okay.
because it really has, on page 26, under C, connections to rural sections, it's that first paragraph ending in, and gutter is not required for sidewalk or trail installation. That's where it refers to, so we're gonna add
That reference,
that
that
reference.
language to refer back.
language, yeah.
Great, so now on page 28. Anybody have anything on 28? Okay, the online comments are table 4.
Okay.
Driveway width in section 48.4 408 says more than 3 lots, while this says more than 2 lots. Which one is correct?
What's here written?
2 lots.
The 2 lots is right, because it was, the fire marshal adjusted it.
Okay, so 2 lots is good. Do we need to change anything else where it says 3 lots? Go back and change the driveway widths in section 48-408?
What would be getting?
Is that for the same thing?
Oh, 40, oh, no one, okay.
That's,
Driveway, more, yeah. So it all stays the same. Everything's correct that's on printed here, so.
Okay, but again, do we have to go back to 48-4?
No, right,
and make
it was changed.
It was changed? So
Right.
4808,
purposely.
48-408 says 2 now.
Well, no, we changed it to the correct one, so it was a change, so it doesn't have to reflect what it was in chapter 48 originally,
not going to have,
right?
But we've got 2 and
This is
3.
replacing
Should those be the
chapter
same?
Whatever's written here is what they want.
So
Public
if chapter
Works.
48 references 3, it needs to be changed to 2 to match this.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay, good. Then we're good.
Sorry.
Then go to the next one.
All right, table 5, more of the same thing.
Oh, that's what I mean. It's 3 lots.
Next one, it's all the same thing. Same thing. Should this be city capitalized instead of city, uncapitalized? Whatever the conventions are. Considering public safety, should this be must or should?
They're okay with should. So again, this is
They're
what it
okay
goes
with it,
back
but-
to.
Yeah.
If they want to enforce it, it needs to say
Must.
They
must,
need to
shall.
get a variance if they can't enforce it.
Must.
Well, if we want to,
Driveways must.
I think driveways must be located to provide adequate site distance.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Not
That's-
maybe, must.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is
We're not
what
there
the
yet.
public
We're-
works director said, so.
What about this right here? 3 dot H,
Okay, add the dot.
table 10.5.3 dot H.
Who is Mary Kronk?
She's a citizen,
Yeah, she's a citizen who is just,
retired.
100% of the comments are from Mary.
No, I know.
yeah, exactly.
Like every one of these.
I
She just
know.
got, she just got, put on what, the deer?
PRB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is, I mean, she's literally,
Great.
we've gotten no other comments, I don't think, from anybody else for the last year.
And she's spoken at this, she speaks at council meetings regularly.
And she's now on the design review board.
Okay, anything else on 28?
Yeah, on G, median crossover design.
Okay.
Type A median crossovers are not permitted. So does everybody know what a type A median crossover is? Because I don't.
are you designing any subdivisions? I don't know what they are either,
don't-
honestly.
Is this something that's commonly known? For those of you that review subdivisions?
well, I think,
It says, reference
because it says GDOT guidelines must be used.
Did put that down here just a while ago?
Would you know a type A median crossroad if you saw one on a
if you were a
plat?
transportation
If you were in
engineer.
public, if you were
Yeah,
in transportation, you
yeah.
would.
Yeah.
I don't know that we would pick it out, but while we lie,
Yeah, so-
they review
Okay,
good,
it.
as
leave it.
long as it's common knowledge,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yes.
experts.
Okay, we're done with 28, 29.
So-
Everything here?
Here's where I saw that before it said 3.5 feet and here it says 4 feet. of
Yeah,
where
so
the
that's the
driver's side-
difference between the vertical and horizontal.
Okay,
All right. Anybody else have anything on 29? Online, we have spacing can be fixed. Yep. Should this be county or city?
That is in 2.
Approach to the county or city roadway? She's asking, should it be capitalized? Should county and city be capitalized? Whatever happens.
Well, but they're not gonna get capitalized.
And another acronym,
Got that?
Okay? And, yeah, again,
have-
capitalization, and anyway, to decrease the font. So that's it on 29 here. The driver's eye should be located 4 feet.
That was a comment I just made.
Yep.
It's intentionally inconsistent, 3.5 versus
So
4.
this is, the
Okay.
4 is the horizontal, yeah.
Right, do not see subsection 4 or the stopping site distance visibility requirements table in section 48 or 12.
Well, that's because it was actually moved from chapter 60 subdivision code or 50, whatever subdivision code is. That's why she didn't see it in 48. 'cause
So it is there in
came
60,
from
okay.
another area.
Awesome.
Is, I, not back up, but, every time they say spacing,
Well, it's.
it didn't, I asked that many months ago, that they have to do that to keep it all
Testify.
Right, it's
together.
column, not, it's
Yeah, so
column. Yeah,
it'll
it's not-
probably appear that same way
Yeah.
in the final.
Yeah,
Some of it, though, they have page breaks where they don't need to.
right. The
Right.
page breaks, I think,
page
can be
breaks.
fixed,
So the tables,
but
let's
from
move
the
on.
The left to right.
left
I
to right,
did that
yeah.
about 50 times circling that and I was told that
Okay, everybody on 29? All right, 30 already. Anybody have anything on 30 here? Okay, did not see the information subsections K and L in Muni code.
Came
these
from
are-
the subdivision regs, that's
Those
what,
were also moved over.
they were moved over from the subdivision regulations, not from 48.
Okay,
So she keeps on looking at 48, but the Public Works Department pulled other stuff from the subdivision regulations.
so you're comfortable this is
Yeah,
addressed?
we went over this with them.
Okay, then we also have a commas not needed between safety and simplicity,
Yep, we agreed, yep.
N3. All right, anything else on 30?
On M, there's a should, and actually back on 29I, bottom right, there's another should.
On,
Yeah, I see that.
on O, the very last lines is following subparagraphs 2 through 5. Should they be
A1.
Spelled out. 5.
Instead of 2-5.
Technically, are those referencing?
I don't know how that works. It should be paragraph
Specific.
2, TWO.
Oh, 2 through 5.
It looks fine to me, but that's,
It does to me too, but
Yeah, I think,
Because it's referencing specific subsections.
Yeah, I think-
You
yeah.
would leave it
oh, yeah. we
oh,
would
that's
leave
right,
it.
that's right, that's
Right.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
enumerated.
all right.
All right, 31.
J1 has a should in it.
What's that?
J1.
I don't know what
Yes.
J2 is supposed to be requiring.
Should generally meet at.
The
or
first
near-
sentence is,
Double
Can't
should,
get
I
a
think.
variance.
Are we good to go to 31?
See, that's
good.
exactly what that's. We might have to have a conversation offline, like with the Public Works Director about this, because like I know that this M, they approved a subdivision where it wasn't done. I mean, I guess unless, we just have to come to agreement that she's okay, that if something can't be met, that they go to the BZA or whatever.
Well, I mean, theoretically should, doesn't mean should unless we think otherwise. I mean.
I'm just saying if we
If it
change
doesn't
it
mean
to-
shall, what does it mean? Should unless there are extenuating circumstances?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Then-
just
then
saying.
I'll be
I-
happy to explain that to
Yeah,
someone.
no, I know. It's just, I know an exact situation where we approved a subdivision where it wasn't exactly Well, actually, no, they were going to if they removed the tree. I think it is across the street. Never mind. But they were going to approve it.
They
Be-
were, but then the storm took down the big tree.
Yeah,
Or
a
hit the big
storm
tree.
took away the tree, so then they,
Without a permit, I'm sure.
no, it really did. And no, I mean,
Cite the
I
storm.
understand it
It's
did.
Truly
$1,000
unfortunate.
day.
We were,
Did they get a
Mother
permit?
Nature coughed up $300.
it was
Get a
a,
permit?
Yeah.
Did they get a
No.
permit for the storm? Yeah.
it's a huge, huge tree.
Can we
Yeah.
bring them?
It's unfortunate.
Citation.
Okay.
Okay, 30, we're done with 30? You can go to 31.
Don't ask it like it's a question.
Well,
Just-
it's the kinder, it's the
Okay.
kinder, gentler me.
Top of 31 on the third line. ITE, can we spell that out?
International traffic engineer.
Yep.
Okay, anybody have anything else on this? Or we can go to the online?
And then we'll put the average daily traffic. Yeah. Oh, we're going to online now, I guess, so.
Okay, no, okay, this subsection is missing the last sentence. When the construction of a deceleration lane is not required from section 48-417D, should this be added?
It's number 5 at the bottom of
Yeah,
that left-hand column.
Okay,
they said no.
no?
They removed it.
They removed it and they want to keep it to be removed, right?
Yeah, they
That's
said
what
it's
mine-
not,
It's not needed.
it's not going to happen
It's not, yeah.
Okay,
with how we have things set up.
I would cross that out.
let's see, also ADT, average daily traffic, spelled out in the table. This subsection is missing the last sentence again. Passing lane sections fall into the criteria for 2 or 4 more lanes.
Oh,
Should
yeah, it's not applicable because we don't have those.
Okay. Also, must or should here. 2,
Very last line.
no longer length should be provided. The longer length must be provided, okay? And then 1.5 signal cycle seems to be a difficult number to capture. Is there a
So,
reason 1.5 was used instead of 2?
so one cycle is, explain it as it's a full cycle, so,
The start of the red light to the end of the next red light.
yeah.
They said that's
That's
typical
normal,
for how they
typical,
measure.
yeah.
That's the standard.
Okay. All right.
I have a problem with it, can be.
What's that?
Says,
Where?
Signalized intersection, the amount of storage for both right and left turns
No.
can be based.
Oh,
on-
subject,
There's a,
or subjective.
Probably should is based, because it's a calculation, so.
Put down here.
There are different ways to
Okay.
calculate it, and that's. I guess it's,
Shall be?
well,
or
No,
must?
I
I
think
guess
I agree
if there are multiple ways of doing it, and we're allowing them to use this to regulate something, I could see where it could be used. But if we want them to use this method, then I would say it shall be.
So what if they said this came from GDOT, all this stuff? But
Tell them-
it's still shall be.
That doesn't use proper drafting.
also in P1, we have another should also. The second sentence, turn lanes should provide a full width lane that is long enough to allow vehicles to decelerate from operating
Should
speed.
be, I think there needs to be a whole just search for shoulds, because there's very
Okay.
rarely a situation where it should.
I agree.
I agree.
Is
Yep.
it should be number 4 also?
Oh, yeah.
So back on number 3, the amount of storage for the turn lanes is
It's based on.
based on, we're going with is based on?
That, I agree
So
with
is
that.
that the minimum, so is this the minimum amount of storage shall be based on?
Well, they probably do a traffic study and somebody goes out and you do snapshots of you do snapshots at different times of the day and then look at kind of distribution and decide what the mean is. It's all statistics and all that I haven't done in decades. But that then is how, it's kind of a calculation method.
That's right.
So is it the required storage? mean,
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of
I don't
the
know.
amount of storage. Trying to figure out that's how many cars are in the right turn lane at a
Right.
given time. It's like, are we trying to tell them, this is just what the study shows, or this is what you need to have?
To me, it was like a design of the study. You do a study and go out and measure how many vehicles arrive
During that cycle.
during,
Okay.
during a cycle and a half.
Right.
And you do that at different times during the day, different days of the week. And you then decide, okay, this seems to be peak average, mean, median, Poisson distribution. And then you say, this is what we need.
I guess if you look back, the paragraph 2 right before it talks about storage needed. The length of full width storage is greater than the length of full width storage shown. The longer length should be provided. It seems like there's the amount of storage can be based.
Why don't we
Maybe,
ask,
maybe this should go along with the,
we'll ask Public Works.
I don't like it being vague unless there are multiple options and they're just making sure it's clear that you can use this
Okay.
as one of them.
Right.
So we got the should in 4 also. Left turn storage should accommodate vehicles, changing that. Okay, anything else on 30,
Right.
31?
A commonly used rule of thumb?
I saw that too.
Wait, oh, I see.
Yeah.
You don't
Okay.
like that phrase?
We'll
It's kind of
take
not
that
horrible.
down.
The attorney is just indignant about the rule of thumb.
Okay, wait. a minute. Your Honor,
It's a
What are
rule.
we talking about?
4.
Four on the bottom right.
Yeah, why don't you ask Public Works to maybe
do they,
think about that a little bit better? Yeah.
do they want to require it or do they not?
My thumb rules, so.
We need to find somebody with a fat thumb, so you have more leniency.
Okay, so 4, you're gonna talk to Public Works about
That is pretty funny.
that? Okay.
Okay, they had to wake us up because I was about
That's
to
when
go
you're just to
away.
see if we're paying attention.
Yeah. Okay, what was on that pizza?
Yeah.
We need part 2 of pizza.
We're all laughing way too much. Okay, page
Okay.
32. Anybody have anything here on 32?
So in number 2, I'm not sure who they is. So a public works director is determining something. And then they must document it. I assume that they is the public works director, but then those recommendations have to
Oh,
be
yeah, that
approved by
doesn't
them.
make
So who's the they?
Yeah.
Because it implies that it's all the public works director. It must it must be the recommendation must be documented and then approved by.
I would say determination, must document the determination. It sounds like they can't just check it off. They have to put a note in the file that says, I have determined that field conditions indicate its best interest. So it's the Public Works Director documenting their determination.
Okay.
Or the determination must be documented and signed off by.
They've implied by documenting it. I would be happy if I'm interpreting it correctly, that if they change the word recommendation to determination.
Okay.
I would agree.
Number 3, same thing that we talked about before, be dedicated in fee simple to the city for the city to maintain. That,
Right of way left turns must be dedicated and feasible to the city for the city to maintain.
This is a little clearer of what's
Yeah,
being.
because
Yeah.
it's not free.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's okay.
All right. Online, we have missing sentence. The subsection is missing the last sentence. Passing lane sections fall into the criteria for 2 or more lanes. Should this be added? I'm assuming this is one they took out
It's not
again.
applicable. It's
Other
another
than okay?
Not gonna
situation.
happen.
Okay.
All right. Should the meaning of ADT be spelled out? Yep, well. Ken?
Oh.
All right, anything else on 32? Oh, yes, charts, pictures. Okay, 33. Instead of see table 14, should these all say table 10.5.3.p.2?
We agree. Yeah.
Okay, should this be Green Book capitalized, I'm assuming?
No.
We're gonna
There's
write
a
out
new-
the full
there's
name.
The full name of that
Okay.
document, so.
Okay,
H2.
all right, anybody else have anything on 33? All right,
And maybe this was actually what the comment is. It seems a little odd that table P.1 is coming after P.2, and I'm sure it's just because of some spacing things, but usually you would see them in,
That is where.
Yeah.
good catch.
That's
Okay.
P-2.2
Oh, yeah, yeah.
before P.1.
which might mean P.2 just has to go to the bottom of the page
Yeah,
instead of the
okay.
top,
Good
instead
point.
of the top.
Okay, so we're up to 34 then. Is that correct? Is that where everybody is?
34?
Okay, spacing can be fixed, maybe, maybe not, maybe not. Can be removed. Should hole through pavement be hole through pavement?
So Public Works has provided a whole new verbiage for that, so,
Okay,
This whole section, I think.
For all of 2?
yeah, two,
Okay.
yeah.
and then we've got a couple of shoulds on this page too. 3, S3, S7 are just 2 that I saw quickly. Raised islands should be large enough to command attention and accommodate wheelchairs. And then raised islands should be offset from the edge of the adjacent travel lane on all sides. Must or shall or? Okay, what else do we have on 4? Figure 4 is not included, I'm assuming, figure 4 from section 48, 421 is not included. I'm assuming that's new stuff we've gotten from Public Works.
Says, okay, to add back.
They're gonna send us,
They're gonna send the stuff. I think they already did with that
I
email.
think it's
They
this
sent the
whole
email.
raised island section that they.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
it's in that email.
all right. Ready to do something?
Backing up, say that where it says should hole through pavement be hole through pavement.
We're told that the Public Works gave us a whole new verbiage
Paragraph.
for that area, that section.
We're gonna fix it. They're fixing it.
In alignment with the newest standards.
It's
I
on
think,
your
for that one.
screen up here.
Oh, okay,
They,
That we just got.
got it. Okay.
Okay, anything else on 34? Okay, 35, anybody here have anything on 35? Online comments, section 48, 423B has not been included here, should it be?
It's the
You
same
don't do
thing.
that, they said.
48.
93. not been
Same thing for
included, should, we
35, the
don't
next
do
one.
that wide.
They no longer let the developer do the road, right?
Where's that at?
73,
It's Mary's comment.
for paved surface and for travel by the pavement specific auxiliary lanes on city are the GDOT standards designated, and they said a section from 48-423 has not been included, and they said that the double dip with the impact fee.
Because if they do, if we require them to widen the road and then charge them an impact fee, which goes towards roads, we're double dipping. So they're just going to collect it at the impact fee.
So no.
That
we're
way
not
they
doing
widen the road, not the developer. That's why it was removed.
Are you good?
We're good.
All right, if you say so. Okay, the following sentences that begin for truck entrances,
So we're gonna update, you should have an update on that.
for commercial entrances and
Yeah, for-
residential, okay.
P, right in, right out, 74.
Okay, and same with the 3 inches vertical, 45-degree, 3 inches flat is included after curb,
Yeah.
but is not included here. Should it be added?
They preferred to remove it. There's different types of mountable curb that they could use.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on 35? All right, 36 already. Already. Okay, anybody have anything from, on page 36?
Under mailboxes, since now all the subdivisions, I think, are required to have those inside the,
The gang mailboxes, yeah.
right. Should there be anything in here about that size,
So this
location?
is speaking, when we were talking about it today, this more speaks to non-subdivision.
Non-subdivision.
Yeah, like if you're just.
Strictly out on the street?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Y1 has a may, second sentence.
Okay, these improvements may include the addition of auxiliary lanes. Can we change that, or does that, with that?
That may be okay there.
Yeah, it might be okay. Because there's,
It's an optional thing.
Yeah.
Back on X3, fixed object mailboxes, and there's a list, and it is, in other words, shouldn't it be, for example, E period, G period, comma? E.g. period, comma, E period, G period, comma, instead of IE.
Then under Y2, there's another one, urban sections. The right-of-way should be no closer than 14 feet to the face of the curb along state routes, 11 feet from the face of the curb on all city roads. Should that be a must be, shall, or whatever we're changing those to?
I think so.
Okay. Anything else on 36? What do we have online? 36?
Have we defined what urban sections and are? In urban sections, the right-of-way should be? What, have we defined what urban is? As opposed to non-urban?
Don't know. Let's see. If it's not in the 13 definitions.
It's
rural section or?
Let me see what urban, if it defines urban.
Anything within the urban growth boundary, of course.
Urban is not defined.
Okay.
There's urbanism and urbanized, but no urban.
Okay. Well, I would also think it'd be more applicable if it was urban and urban section or rural.
We talk about urbanized with respect to the form-based code, which means T3 density or higher. And if that was what they intended, that this be urbanized, but we probably should, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't live in urban. I don't think I live in urban. Trey doesn't live in urban. Anybody here want to admit to being urban?
Well, because it talks about rural that's what I'm saying. Rural, so there's urban section and a rural section of highway or roadways. So I don't know,
But
And which are which?
usually a rural section is, it's a wider right of way and it has a ditch instead of a curb and gutter. So I can tell you what a rural is and a urban is with curb and gutter. But
but
I just saw the hair on the back of Paul's neck stand up when you said usually. It's usually
it generally is.
rule of
Good
thumb.
rule of thumb.
I would think I would think people would not want to know, am I urban or am I?
well, I don't know about urban, it's the type of section of the road section.
But where do you put urban sections?
I mean, the majority of things are urban, it's curb and gutter, like almost like normal I mean, we do have some rural sections where we just have a ditch and it tends to require wider right of way because having a,
Can you go back and ask them what they consider to be urban sections? Or where urban sections apply?
well, it just depends on how you want to develop a subdivision. So like we encourage rural sections with ditches because it feels more rural, right? So I don't think that there's a specific place, but I think it would benefit to have a definition of what a rural section is and an urban section.
Okay.
Versus, well, where, you know what I mean? It doesn't,
Well, it talks about in urban sections and rural sections, and we spend a lot of time in other things trying to say, this is this character area and how we want it to look and feel, so.
yeah, but we can ask about that. Put that down,
I have it.
ask Public Works, okay.
Okay, then, online comments on the chart.
Yeah,
Fore slopes and back slopes,
those are correct.
those are
That's the
correct?
correct terminology.
Okay, and then should we have the H and V, which is vertical and horizontal, I'm assuming? On the bottom?
They said
No,
The-
no,
people would probably.
no, they know it. It's
Call
like,
them
you
right
know,
now. On the phone.
V and H, I mean, they'll know
Okay.
vertical and horizontal. So,
Be hard on Mary.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not here.
Um,
I'm sorry.
anything else on 36?
Something.
I know, she
I
does.
mean, golly.
All right, page 37. Anybody have anything on 37?
137 and ZAA. And I'm not sure why it's AA. 'Cause I don't know that that's how we usually go under Z. I think we usually go
Yeah, we're gonna
Z.
be.
Maybe that's a sign.
Canadian version, eh?
Go ahead and start.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a new convention to go. 'cause
Yeah,
we
they've
started
run out of
using-
XYZ, so now you're AA.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, Z is pavement markings. So,
Oh,
so we shouldn't have AA.
oh, yeah, you're right. It should be just regular A.
No, I
Or
don't,
no,
know.
regular Z.
Huh?
Don't need anything.
I don't think the A just
Why
doesn't need to be
Z?
there.
He disappeared. AAs.
Yeah.
Right, those,
Eh,
Eh?
get it now, yes.
Who was asking about drinks?
Canada or-
We only have section Z, there is no AA under 10.5
Okay.
point whatever. Under Z2 and 4, I think our convention has been that if it's less than 10, you spell it out, so it's
Right, I think.
5 and 5 was spelled out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Signs are generally 5 inches. They required to be 5 inches or not?
should be.
I just, as comments under
Top
B.
lines should be, center lines should be.
Well, she did say, I have this comment, this is general development, but not how to do it. But. I don't know.
Okay, so under AA,
But aren't we getting rid of AA?
Formerly known as.
Formally, yeah, we are.
what am I gonna do Wednesday now? No.
Long day.
Okay, so we're getting rid of the shoulds in 3, 4, 5, and 6,
We should.
should we?
Let's show.
We must.
Maybe.
Okay,
But back to 2 on the, what started to get us punch happy, lane lines are generally, it's like,
yeah,
Want them to be or not?
are they or aren't they?
get rid of generally.
Yeah.
They are.
I struck through generally, but shall be.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess this is what I'm saying. Well, this, I think now it's coming back to me. So in a regular subdivision, there are no pavement markings. So I think that's what they were saying about should. I mean, like in subdivisions, there's not markings.
Well, what it says here, lane lines are not required where curb and gutter has been provided, but we have subdivisions now that don't need curb and gutter and would also not have, well,
Right. But even there's subdivisions with curb and gutter that does, we don't put striping in
well, no,
subdivisions.
no, what I'm saying is the opposite. We have some newer subdivision with larger lots that don't have curb and gutter and also don't have lane lines. So
Correct.
what is it? Do we need markings?
But I
or
think if
not?
we stay with our convention, if it needs it or not, if you're gonna put it, it should be at 5 inches.
Okay.
Shall be.
Okay. Anybody else have any on 37, or should we go to the online comments? The online comments, this intro section from 48-515 is missing. I'm assuming this is what we've gotten from Public Works is new on this. Pavement markings are required to separate lanes of travel and should be used along all edges of pavement.
I have,
We talked about it. The intro section was missing. I think they said they were gonna add that back in.
get back with you about it. Well, we won't get back, we'll fix it to what it's supposed to be with the
Okay.
shalls and everything, but.
Okay, then we have the sentence beginning, sufficient right-of-way should be donated.
Where's that?
So that's for 83, which is number 3 above pavement markings. So if additional right-of-way is required in order to construct the required improvements, the applicant must dedicate the right-of-way. Sentence beginning shall be donated to the end. I just have, it's correct the way it is. That we don't need to add the rest of it, or what
Okay.
was there.
All right. And the last comment on 37 is, would such interests so advanced include be more clear as these interests include?
I agree.
Yes, we agree too, yeah. These,
Then we're done with 37 at least.
oh, you said we were done.
And warmer.
38.
38. Anybody have anything on 38?
Yeah, as a resident of White Columns, I think the PTV should be, they do something with that acronym. And personal transportation vehicle. Second column under sidewalk requirements.
And I've got a question on meander. Like sidewalks to meander in the right of way? Meander, a defining term, okay.
And then 10.6 to B1 and 2, we have 5 as a number, and I think our convention is.
Okay. And then we've got no online comments. Are we done with 38? 39. Anybody have anything on 39? There are no public comments.
No, she did it this afternoon. Well, no, that was the other,
Yesterday.
The tree one.
the tree one she did this afternoon.
Anything on 39? Okay. 40.
140 under C, both in 2 and both in 3. Again, the 5s and 6s spelled out instead of.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on 40?
One, I didn't see it in here. We talked about some time ago, this interconnection of the sidewalks. And I know we say so many feet from the school, it's gotta
Right,
be.
yeah.
Is there anything that was in here that was changed to, so the developer just didn't, like in our subdivision out front on Hopewell, it just stops? And then it just goes for like, next subdivision, nothing.
Well, I don't know
And it
why they
starts
did,
again.
I mean, those are older subdivisions and I'm not sure why the one, I mean,
No, I
typically.
know it, but did we make a change so that stops? That doesn't
Well, it
happen in the future?
depends. Not real, I mean, we have the requirements, it was a quarter mile from a public
Public.
park or public school. You
school.
have to provide it.
Right.
Half a mile.
Oh, a half a mile of an existing or proposed school or active park.
But other than that,
We don't require it, no. Unless it's in form-based codes, we do require sidewalks, so.
True.
So
Okay.
in the Crabapple and Deerfield area.
There's a may and a should. May, it might be right. Says on D, small I. Minor plats may be. That might be correct.
Yeah, I think that, yeah,
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
And then there's a should on the next column over under F. Section 1060. Should follow the already stuff. That might be okay also.
Yeah, I think we should, I don't know, I think we should, I think that looks more like a must to me.
Yeah.
Good catches.
Just at the end of page 40, there's a page break that's premature.
Right? Jumping ahead to 41 then. Anything on 41 that anybody has? Nothing online?
what is a point system? Under D, review guidelines, but not limited to a point system. Point system.
I have no idea. So it must be some sort of transportation engine.
Performance.
Yeah.
Also a may. First line of that.
Maybe we should change that. Have them do it.
I have to ask him about that one. I'm not sure how that.
I'm not either.
I'm not sure how it applies, so I don't know. I see a 4 feet that probably should be spelled out.
So I circled that.
And there's a may in
Judy
that
missed it.
sentence.
Interesting, go back.
Hasn't
and
got there yet. She's got it circled.
like, just
Okay.
highlight everything and shit, yeah.
I got it already.
Find replace.
Well, just certain, you just
Come on.
look at every one of them.
There's another may down in the last sentence of that page too.
I know what that means.
The director may approve a reduction to a minimum sidewalk width of 4 feet.
Right.
That's it, that's probably okay, right? Okay, anything else on 41? 42, Milton Trail Plan. Anybody have anything on that?
Is this the missing trail plan in 1073A?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, online we have, is as part of the needed here, it appears redundant.
So and as part of the update, yeah, it's a repeat, so.
Okay,
yes.
so you've got that. Where is figure A1 for
You just gave that.
figure 10.7.3.a? And then 48,697 also states that materials shall be organic, natural colors approved by the Director of Public Works in consultation with the City Design Review Board.
No, we don't want that.
You don't want that? Okay. 2 spelled out or not. Anything else on 42? Okay,
The may, asphalt may be required. Probably. Okay.
well, concrete may be required, asphalt may be required.
Or
Any concerns with those mays there and under material type on page 42?
Well, I think some of this could be optional, though, right? I mean, asphalt may be required where slopes are too steep, but somebody may decide to take that slope and address
Yeah, I
that
think those
grade a little
mays are
differently.
okay, yeah.
So I think
Mays,
may
okay.
might be okay.
I mean, if it's too steep for gravel, then they are required or aren't. When are you requiring it or not?
Well, I may not require asphalt. I may require boulders, or I may require
How do we know?
jute mesh.
Well, this is for
Yeah, for the material type for the
the trail,
travel.
right?
Doesn't it say, let's go to the next page.
Again, I think it's just saying it could possibly be these and the trails, so I don't think it's a must or have to or shall. Or what do you guys
Right,
think?
and I think ultimately that's decided on upon the director. So,
I typically, sometimes I'm okay with may if it says what you're basing your decision on. Where it just says you may require it
arbitrary.
depending on how you feel that day,
Yeah.
then that's where it becomes questionable.
So for example, like in number 4, Paul, you'd be okay that additional gravel reinforcement may be required to stabilize the,
If necessary
footing
to
or whatever.
stabilize the,
yeah, for
Required to stabilize.
stabilization.
yeah, I mean, I think my interpretation, then each one needs a if so. instead of, I don't think we can change all of them to shall or must be, because
Right.
I don't think you can.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll just have to work to sort of
Yeah,
clean
I
up.
think there's a lot of situations where may is what you want, but you're really thinking in terms of, and sometimes even in order to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. And when in doubt, throw that in there. It gives us something to point to as there, your guide, you're still bound to apply some test to it without just at your whim.
Okay, gotcha.
I do think we should, just on the parking lot, just have them go back through and search for all the mays. I know we've missed them. Evaluate them for
Mays and shoulds.
Mm-hmm.
whether they,
Okay. The last page. Page 43. Anybody have any comments on 43?
Unless we want an F to say gravel / unpaved roads.
That would probably make sense here. Would you agree? Under
And
F,
then on G, so it's, the title's not an orphan, it should go to the next paragraph, or next column.
Oh, yeah.
all right, online we have, is a word like must missing between trail and B? Or is there a better way to word the sentence?
it's
Cross-section
reference
required for
to
each
Milton
segment of the Milton Trail.
Required for each segment of the Milton Trail be,
Must, I have it
Must.
as must.
must be approved?
Yeah.
Okay. And then 43, should, there's a may in here somewhere.
E, line 3.
Okay. Directional signs may be provided at major trail branches and points. That might be a must.
No, those are probably permissive.
What's
Excuse me?
that?
This right here, the directional
know.
signs maybe, or they may be permissive.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's a spacing issue, yep. Is and needed here can be, or can be removed.
That is,
Yes.
Okay. And then would this be updates or updated?
I think it's the updated.
Recommend updates. Is it
updates
public-
Two, I have two
Updates
updates
too?
too,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
And then while we're here, we should probably just do 13 right now.
just knock it out.
Very similar.
I'll go print it all out.
Well, I did, by your seats, I did provide the list of, you'd asked for the policy changes, I believe.
Yep.
I also added what the timeline is, we're proposing for the adoption of everything. So we'll do,
And right now, we're slated to be done with this end of August or
well, September. So
September,
I
mid-September.
think September, we should be done with reviewing all the chapters. And then, got it. The CZIM is, I think it's whatever I did. I can't remember what I wrote.
28.
What did I put on that sheet?
November 28th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. November 28th is the CZIM, and then Planning Commission in December, and adoption in February.
So in that meeting in December 20th,
It should,
is that a 480-page review.
No, it's not, please, no.
Start over.
Yeah, we're done.
Considering that might be the standard annual holiday dinner, it might behoove everybody to make that a little bit on the shorter side. Saying.
Yeah. So-
Will there be enough time for all these
Yeah,
edits
I'm
to
already,
get
yeah, so
incorporated?
I've already been siphoning them to Caleb and, so yeah, we've already talked to him about the schedule, so I think he'll be able to turn around a version between the September meeting and then probably have it done in October before.
That's what I was referring
Yeah.
to. Wasn't being facetious.
Oh, okay. Please don't, you're gonna give me a heart attack.
All
Okay.
right.
That's good.
Motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Because we're not going to talk about
Whatever,
department
I'm not doing
items.
minutes.